Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Out of Mana podcast. You are joined with the Real Shiesty and myself, Joshua Cast. You can watch us live every Friday at 6 p.m. Central Time, or you could check us out the following day on YouTube, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts. But the best way to make sure you see an episode is by following us on social media. Links in the description below. But how you doing today, sir?
Doing great. You failed to mention Twitch, YouTube, MySpace, Facebook, USPS mail.
Apparently, we're running everything now. I didn't realize
Yeah,
we
well,
had
we
all
got
that
everything.
stuff.
Yeah, we got it. We got it. We got fan mail. We got PO box. No, I'm just playing. But overall, pretty good. With myself, pretty good. There I go again. Inside joke. But yeah, so we're gonna talk about all our cool games that we got this week. I feel like it's been Christmas for me. We will do that. And how have you been doing?
I've been doing pretty well. Also, before we really get into it, I just want to say this is the final time I'll mention this. We
Ooh,
finally got everything fixed. All the episodes are now on Spotify. Everything is good on YouTube and Apple Podcasts. So hopefully you guys are seeing it and hopefully it works. If there's anything out of place, make sure you let us know. But I think we're all covered. But other than that, doing fine. It's starting to get nice again. Like when I say again, I'm talking about like it's been a nonstop fluctuation of hot, cold, hot, cold, hot, cold. So hopefully we're finally going to spring. As you were saying, got a lot of games recently. I somehow hit a weird deal where I found four Xbox 360 controllers relatively cheap. When I say cheap, I'm talking about $2, which they usually go for $30 in good condition. Just bought Dead Island, not two, but Dead Island 1 and Riptide at the collection for like $5. So I'm feeling pretty happy. And I got a couple other games, but they're not worth mentioning.
oh, okay. What out of the new ones you got? Is there any one in particular that you're playing right now, or
Uh, so there's none I'm playing right now because I
okay?
have a list going because I still need to get the Breath of the Wild and some other games. But I am looking forward to Dead Island because I played it a long time ago on 360, and this is
Mhm.
the definitive edition on PS4. I also picked up Metal Gear Solid Rising, which is a game I've been wanting to play for a very long time, but for some reason just never picked it up. It's not that expensive, but today I was able to get it for like $16, which usually goes for like 25 plus. So I was like, let's do it.
Cool, cool. So I guess for the sake of those that have a video or will watch video, I'll do a little show and tell while I talk for the benefit of those that do not have video. This week I got, I totally forgot, but came in the mail. Trinity Trigger for the PS5. I got the day one edition. So I am currently playing this right now. I'm enjoying it. It's kind of like a simple action adventure RPG type game. For those that are fans of Secret of Mana, this is kind of like a carbon copy of it, but dare I say a little bit better because they have added like, just newer components to it and stuff. But it looks, sounds, and plays a lot like Secret of Mana. And they actually have, I believe the composer is actually from the Mana series. So yeah, I'm enjoying this. It's not to like shit on this, but it's no Octopath. But it's enjoyable. It's fun, simple. I have died already a couple times because I suck. Um, and it's interesting when you die on a boss fight, you could just try again, and they will decrease its like defense or health or something by 10%, and it'll do that to a max of 50%. So it's kind of like it just makes it easy, I guess, when you start losing.
It's kind of funny that you say because I've actually played a game that does the opposite, where every time you die, they increase the boss's health.
What the
I
fuck?
can't remember
What
what
game is
game it.
that?
I can't remember what game it is. It's a JRPG game. It was back on the PS2. Um, but yeah, every time you die, hold on, I'm trying to think. It might be
That
Lost
is
Odyssey.
that is mad.
But yeah, they do it as a punishment because they're like, okay, you didn't get the first time, you're gonna struggle, and you're gonna make sure you get the next time. If you don't, you're gonna keep struggling. Obviously, there's a cap to how strong it gets, but I played a game where it's the opposite, where they actually get tougher.
That is hilarious. That is awesome. That is awesome. So I got that, and I'm playing that now. Probably I'll probably finish it. I started streaming it, but then I stopped. Maybe I'll pick it up again a little bit with streaming it. Then was it yesterday? I think it was yesterday. I got my collector's edition Cuphead. Haven't opened it yet, still sealed, and it includes the delicious last course. I've only played the original game, so the DLC part I have not played. So I will look to dive into this again.
Where'd you pick that up?
I will finish that.
Okay.
But I started playing this with my buddy when I moved in but I can't talk. When I moved in with him before I ended up here where I'm at now, where I'm doing the podcast, we took the leap of faith to finally play this game. I enjoyed it thoroughly. So to answer your question, I purchased the IM 8-bit collector's edition. I wasn't going to bring it and show it once again because for the sake of those that don't have the video, but I will show it as a little bit of, I guess kind of flexing here. But it came with a cool puppets of Cuphead.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
And yeah, it's actually really, really cool.
So is it like a full marionette, or is it like a half?
Yes, it's full. Or at least I think it's full. I don't know what would be considered not full. It is, I think this is really cool. I did an unboxing of this yesterday, just something totally different than obviously streaming World of Warcraft. I guess took a leap of faith with that. It came out extremely shitty, but I don't care. I still did it and uploaded it. But this thing is super cool. Like, out of all the collector's editions I've bought over the years, like, this is neat. It's really cool. I'm really glad I picked it up. I think they're still available. Like, it's not like it's sold out, I think. Then I haven't checked. So for those that may be wondering, they could check out my unboxing video. They could check other people's unboxing videos because mine's pretty shitty. That's totally fine. My feelings won't be hurt. But check it out. Maybe you might buy it.
So
go ahead.
Sorry, not to go off too close.
Yeah.
Well, how many of collector's editions have you gotten so far? Like I'm talking about, like
years?
yeah.
Oh Jesus!
Guesstimate.
I mean, well, hell, I got a whole bombardment of them right behind me with World of Warcraft. I mean, every single one of those are technically collector's editions.
Okay, let me rephrase it. How many collector's editions have, in your opinion, have been unique? Because I've bought collector's editions, and I can say that I have 4 collector's editions that to me were cool. One of them was the Call of Duty Black Ops 3 or 2, where it came in like a mystery box, like an actual mystery box, and it had a cool set. I also had another one. Well, this is also just for games, but I also had that Batman collector's thing where it actually came in the Batmobile, and when you open it up, all the movies pop out. I had the TMNT one where it also comes with the truck, whatever it's called, and when if you open the side, all the discs are right there.
Yeah. So with not movies, I don't have any cool movie ones, but if I keep it strictly video game related, I thought you were going to say the same one I was about to say, but I think it was Modern Warfare 2, the original, or 3, no, 2, with the night vision goggles. I thought that was pretty badass for the time. Let's see, what else?
Honestly,
probably when I get 16, that's probably going to be up there maybe with that statue. What else? Very good question. I'm trying to think.
It's funny that you mentioned Modern Warfare 2. Like, that's the cool one for you because they've had many others. Like, they had Black Ops 1 with the R60 cart with the C4 pack on it.
You did mention it, and I think we talked about it on one of our pods, or maybe it was like post-pod talk, but I know we had that conversation, and I wasn't aware of that. I think there was even, you said there was one that was like a drone camera or something.
Oh, yeah, that was, that might have been Black Ops 2 that had that. But it's kind of funny that they reuse the night vision. Like, for Modern Warfare 2, they had the night vision. For Call of Duty Ghosts, they had the night vision. And then for Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2019, they had the night vision. It's like, okay, you're not being original anymore. At least the other ones, you had an R60 car, you had a drone, you had a mystery box, a juggernaut fridge, and everything. But for Modern Warfare, it's just reused night vision.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's pretty funny. So yeah, off the top of my head, like Final Fantasy 15, despite me crapping on the game, I thought their presentation was pretty good with their collector's edition because the box that it came in was kind of like a flap that opened, and all the artwork was done from like I know bigger Final Fantasy nerds would slap me in the face for not knowing, but it was one of their more notorious artists that did the artwork. So like it just looks really nice, and when you open it, you have like the DVD in there and art book and stuff, and it was just the presentation of it was really cool and nice. I'm trying to think if there's any other ones as I'm looking around now, even like in my room, like, oh, come on, one gotta stand out. I mean, the World of Warcraft anniversary one, because of the Ragnarok statue, I think is pretty cool. I really like that Ragnarok statue.
Yeah, it's really nice.
Let's see. I'm trying to think over the years, maybe even something that I don't have anymore, but I can't really think. So, I mean, this one's up there. Like that marionette puppet is really, really cool. And it's like, the feet, hands, and cup are wood, and then the rest of it's like, I don't know, I guess cloth or filled with something. But I think it's really cool. It makes me want to learn how to actually use it now that I have it.
Are you gonna put it on your shelf and have it as a display piece?
It will be a display piece in my place, but I right now currently I don't think it'll be on that shelf behind me, unfortunately. Maybe I'll work it in at some point, but right now I have another spot that I kind of really like where it's at.
Right above your bed. He's just gonna dangle as you sleep. A nightmare catcher.
That would be fantastic. Lastly, still gaming related, but not a game. But today is the release of the Tears of the Kingdom OLED Switch. So went after work to pick it up. So I now have this in my possession.
I was actually gonna ask about that because I see everybody like uploading their photos and videos of the Switch. I was like, I just need to see if you got it too. So have you opened it all?
No, I haven't opened it yet. I think my plan is going to be to transfer all my Zelda info or data and saves into that and just make it straight a Zelda console. And then that frees up space on my regular Switch for whatever else I may need it for. But that's what I think is going to be my plan.
So let me ask, because obviously I'm a physical media kind of guy, at least when it
Yep.
comes to Switch.
Mhm.
Did you had so is your Switch filled up with just game save data, or is it actual like games?
Great question. It's both. I downloaded a few games, but nothing that really would be like memory intensive. I actually had to delete slash archive some. Like over the years, I had out of all the systems, Switch is the one where I would have friends come over and we would actually like scout the shop out of boredom and just down something willy nilly and just play. Uh, and yeah, so that's how I would end up with like rando games on there. Like I remember one time you remember uh, our friend Zebracorn, aka Kevin. He would come over and hang out a few times, and we would download random games. Like one was like, oh man, what was it called? It was called like Cyber Kitty or Kitty Cop or something Kitty, and we just saw we're like, let's fucking do it. Just downloaded it, just played it for like a couple hours. Like, all right, next. So yeah, actually, I have gone through actually having to remove games for data on that system. I don't know if the memory is the same or what. I haven't dug too deep into that yet, but
So it's kind of funny that I'm gonna say this because usually I
Mhm.
bash the Switch. But one thing I do like about the Switch is that the um the memory expansion is so easy to do. It's just a micro SD card that you can put in and increase. And having that is such a nice thing because I'm not sure if you bought any of expansions, but I bought like a 500 gigabyte one. It was actually relatively cheap because for some reason they go on sale quite often. But I put that in, I think I'm like set for the rest of my life on this Switch.
Oh, nice.
But
I
I know that there's people that have like over like 40 like 1 terabyte ones that they put in there. I'm like, how many games do you have on your Switch?
Damn. Whew. I know in my regular Switch, I believe I do have a card in there right now. I just don't remember how much memory's on it, and I know I did transfer some stuff. So, yeah, I also have one of those too. And to your point, it makes it very, very easy to manage.
Yeah, I just wish that the other consoles had kind of like a micro SD thing where you just plop it in and it's easy compared to like actually taking out the hard drive or
Hard drive,
using an
yeah,
external one.
yeah. So other than the gaming stuff, like that's really everything for gaming. I haven't been touching Warcraft at all this week, surprisingly. They will have a new patch come out this Tuesday, so I guess it's kind of a little bit of a break again for me before. Well, I won't even be able to go hard because the raid comes out in 2 weeks, which is when Zelda eventually comes out. So there's that, and I'm still, man, I'm just like, so I bought this at Best Buy, and I also reserved my copy at Best Buy, and then when I went, I'm like, by any chance in hell, y'all wouldn't be doing any midnight launch for it? And they're like, probably not. That's what I thought. So now I'm like, do I just cancel and
And
just?
I could tell you one place that is doing it if you want, because that's the place I pre-ordered. But to go to your
But are they
point,
still allowing pre-orders?
oh, most likely.
Okay, because I'm just thinking I pre-purchase a damn thing on this new console and pre-install it, and the moment midnight hits,
Well, I'll after everything is done, you can call the place and see if they're still taking pre-orders. And if they are, we can go there. But it's kind of weird because there's a lot of places not doing it. Because like not the GameStop I went to because I'm still supporting GameStop. They're doing it, but a lot of other places, a lot of other GameStops, even Walmart, Target, whatever, they're not doing it because they, from their words, not mine, they said that there wasn't enough pre-order demands to warrant a midnight release, which is shocking to me because so that means it's either one, the marketing hype is overrated, or a lot of people are doing digital download.
I think it's an accurate statement. Here's why: because I think a lot of people. I don't know how many were released, but obviously a lot of people want to get their hands on collector's editions, right?
Hmm.
So there's your one, whatever your percentage of people are doing it there, and most of those are probably going to be mailed. I'm thinking. Uh, I think as well as pre-order bonuses, like those are probably just a lot of people are probably just getting them via mail. Uh, I feel like I may be. I think I'm in the small percentage of wanting to play it at the heart of midnight. Uh, I know there's going to be a lot of people, but I don't think it's that vast. And I think a lot, like yourself, a lot of people still go to the likes of GameStop, not just out of support, but it's just nature, natural. Like that's I would want to go there too. I just didn't score a collector's edition, so yeah, I think that's kind of where it's at.
So it's kind of funny that you say that because uh, so at GameStop, I was asking around, seeing what they're doing, and apparently the only way to add the incentive of pre-ordering it there is that their midnight release isn't at midnight. It's actually 2 hours before the game's supposed to come out, so you can get your game and go home before an hour before everybody else starts playing.
Interesting. Uh, do they actually get that green light from Nintendo? Is it 2 whole hours? Because I know I've got what was it? It was
I
Smash
don't know the
Brothers.
legal the whatever illegal thing they have behind it. All I know is I get 2 hours early and then we get out of there.
Yeah, because I remember Smash Brothers and being in the store. I don't. I'm trying to remember. I don't vividly remember if we had to wait to exactly midnight. I want to say maybe not exactly midnight, but it wasn't 2 hours. Like I definitely remember that. I think they let us in the store that early, right? Especially because I think it was pretty cold still. They let us in the store early, but they didn't like. They're like, no, we have by law or whatever. They had to wait to a certain time in order to actually like go ahead. So yeah, I'm give me the information. I'll check it out.
Yeah, because when
We'll
I went
see.
for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, I they said the actual release was like 11 p.m. because they always do it an hour before now, but we were already in the store at 10. All of us were mostly out by 10:30. And I was like, okay, that's cool. And like I said, I don't know if that's legal or not. I'm not gonna speak on their behalf because I do not know. But all I know is
Yeah,
I don't care. I got it early and I was out.
I think for a game like this, it doesn't matter. I mean, dare I say it that way? But since there's that lack of like online compatibility, where like Smash Brothers does have it, although I don't think it was ready like day one, though. Could be wrong. So like that's why it doesn't matter as much. Like it will not surprise me come a week and a half from now we start getting like these random leaks with copies being mysteriously gone off trucks and stuff. It would not surprise me,
Well,
not one bit.
it's kind of interesting because you know, GameStop they get their shipments in, and obviously you can tell when like FedEx because I'm not sure if they partner with FedEx, but they usually get their games from FedEx. I can see them loading, and I seen when they were offloading their shipments already, they already have the games at store already. Like
They have it already this early.
yeah, and they
I know
were
they do get them early
massive boxes.
because I used to work at EB games. So like that much I know. I know, yes, they do get them early, but this early, like 2 whole weeks early, that's crazy.
They had the controllers in that box. They had a couple of switches in the box from the Zelda one, and a bunch of the. I don't know if they were. See, this is the thing that I don't know because I didn't get a chance to look at everything because I just seen the top part of the box, and I
Hmm.
know that the collector's editions are in there, but I don't know if the other games are in there.
Mm, interesting.
I was like,
I'm sure
yo,
stuff
I,
like that
I
would have
think my
been
pre-order is right
leaked
there. Can I
already.
get that right there? I'm like, you have it in the back room. Let me get my game.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I mean, I haven't. It's not like I've been digging for it, but you would think stuff like that would probably populate on Twitter and stuff or anywhere social
Well,
media wise.
before at like they would always leak that stuff, but I think because of how strict a lot of these laws are, I think that's why a lot of these leaks aren't getting up because of how high the fines will be if they were leaked. So I think that's
Maybe,
why you don't see them as much.
maybe. Either way, excitement ensues. 2 weeks away to the day.
Yeah, so we'll
Well,
be
less than
talking
that.
more about Zelda
Less than
later.
that. Actually, we mentioned it before, but we're doing our podcast on Thursday, right?
Yes, we're doing it on Friday.
But outside of games, just really quickly, I guess, on a little personal note, I did mention in a previous podcast about leaving the country. So today, I actually was surprised with my passport already.
He's leaving the
So
country because he did some wire frauds. He's on the run. He's now Better Call Saul.
apparently, I'm on the run because I say too much.
That's pretty cool.
Inside joke. Yeah, so I was actually really surprised to get that because I just thought it would take longer, but I'm glad, so I don't have to worry about waiting to the last minute and
So,
not maybe or having to possibly cancel.
when are you going on your trip again to that wrestling event? I forgot what the place is
It's
called.
the end of July.
Okay. There's actually a lot of stuff happening in July. It's kind of funny because, as we speak about this event,
Usually July.
there's
July
another.
is a big month for me too. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh no, you're fine. But there's another event that we're going to talk about later, Evo, that is also happening in July, and I was quite
Mm.
interested in that because I know we've been talking about things we want to go see and do, and that
Mm-hmm.
having to pop up.
Okay, yeah, we'll take that deeper dive. So that's just want to bring that out there.
That's
Other
pretty cool.
than that, what else you got?
So for me, I finally finished my Hyrule Warrior playthrough because I know last time
Hmm.
we talked, I was still a couple missions out. I beat it,
Yes.
and then I also started Breath of the Wild. I just have to say that what's his name? King Rome, is that his name?
Yes. Yep.
I need to know like the secret behind their eternal life, like if there's just reincarnation. Because like, how do you go from Age of Calamity, 100 years later to Breath of the Wild, and then still being like the same age and look?
Well, in Breath of the Wild, he's dead.
No, King Rome is the first guy you meet when you come out of the chamber. He's the guy. He's a cloaked figure. Unless if I'm seeing a ghost.
Damn, I spoiled it.
Is he really a ghost?
Yeah, he is.
Okay, because I was like, 100 years have passed. How are you still alive, my guy? And so, does that mean that Zelda is a ghost, or is this another reincarnation
I'm
of that Zelda?
saying
No,
no more,
you
no
can
more.
spoil it because I'm still gonna play it through no matter what.
No,
Um,
Zelda's not a ghost.
is she a reincarnation of the previous Zelda or the same Zelda?
I'm gonna say no, but it is Zelda.
So no, it's not a reincarnation, or no, it's not the same Zelda.
Well, the reason why I said that is because the whole uh, timeline of Zelda, every Zelda and every Link is a reincarnation. That's why I kind of like um, said it that way or answered that way.
I still want to know, like, do they tell you in Breath of the Wild why Link is in that cave? Because I thought I was gonna get that explanation in Age of Calamity, and I got none of that.
Oh shit! Really? I thought they did explain it. Age of Calamity. Yeah, you'll get it. If you didn't get an age, you'll get it in Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, because at the end of Age of Calamity, all you do is you defeat Ganon, and somehow this is where I'm getting confused. Maybe the DLC would explain more because I didn't play the DLC for Age of Calamity. But after you beat the game, Calamity Ganon's gone, Astra's gone, the Guardian's not cured, and everybody from the future is now back in the future, and the timeline rewritten itself, and they say, "Oh, we'll see you again" or whatever. And I'm like, okay, but that doesn't explain how Breath of the Wild starts.
Gotcha. You will get that information. It's been so long since I went through Age of Calamity, so like the two of them are kind of intertwined. Like I don't know which game tells which part of the story, so to speak. Like that's how twisted my thoughts are with it, timeline wise. So you will get it. You will get it.
Okay, that's good because I was like, dude, I was like trying really hard to stay with the Calamity story and like trying to understand like from beginning to end. But then as I played and I started hopping to the next game, I'm like, I feel more confused now than I did before.
And that's why, like, when you asked me the question, which one I should play first, or which one you should play first, I was like, well, like, in theory, you should do Breath, but like, Age is the prequel, and I was hoping it wouldn't confuse you. And well, I don't think you're that confused. Let's put it that way.
I understand that Age of Calamity isn't actually the past; it's an alternative version of the past. It's like Breath of the Wild takes that time and they split it like Infinity War, and they're rewriting another history, but not their own history.
See, I still think that's where you're wrong, and that's where I need to like do, I guess, my further research because, like, I feel like it's all canon, so therefore it can't be a rewrite or like
Well,
a retcon.
you
Well,
can
I
go
mean,
to
it
another timeline
can.
and still make it canon. I'm just saying because like if you look at it, they're going to a future, another future. They're not rewriting their past; they're rewriting another past, so they don't have to go through that same event. But when they go back to their area, they still have to deal with the, you know, end results of what happened beforehand. They're just able to change another timeline.
I think with Tears of the Kingdom, that's probably what may come out of it,
Or we end up more
and that's
confused
why,
than ever, and we're like, "What
or
the hell was
that,
the
or that.
story?"
No, no, I hope not. I think, man, it's gonna be so good. I can't wait. I mean, it's also one of our topics, so we'll maybe dive into it a little bit more later in the podcast instead of like uh, doing it now. So we'll that'll be a little bit of a tease, I guess.
Well, speaking of
So
which, this isn't a topic because, but
yes,
I didn't want to put it up there. But
yeah, let's go with the mini topics.
I'm almost happy that I actually decided not to buy a game because I'm not sure if you heard, but Star Wars, uh, was a
Oh, I
Survivor came
heard.
out recently.
Yeah, I heard very little about this, but yes, continue.
But supposedly on console it's fantastic, but on
Oh,
PC there's multiple issues and basically making the game unplayable.
I thought there's still issues on the console versions as well. I thought
I,
that's what I read.
I don't know if maybe there's some on Xbox, but so far from the majority of people I see for PlayStation side, they're saying it's fine. But I know that
Interesting.
PC is definitely getting hit with a lot of issues.
Interesting.
Because like
Okay.
I looked at there's because obviously you probably see like the media on Twitter and also headlines everywhere else. But when I actually looked at Steam itself, the ratings for it were extremely negative. Like it wasn't even close. Like there wasn't like a middle ground or whatever. It was just all negatives.
Awesome. Well, this
Did you
is
say awesome?
apropos because it's well. I mean, no.
Awesome.
Not
Good for
not
them.
not not for that. That sucks for the gamers. No, I was saying awesome because this is apropos because it's Star Wars related. But one of our viewers, Wookie here, says yes, the console is streaming well. So to co-sign with your saying so.
Okay.
But yeah, that's so. Remember, we were talking about how we're laughing how they delayed it, right? Because they were actually concerned about these things,
Hmm.
and now these things still aren't fixed. Because that's what I immediately thought when I saw it. I was like, oh shit, they delayed it, and because of these were their concerns, and apparently they're legit because they still didn't fix it. So like, man,
Awesome.
like, yeah, awesome. I think that's like, I mean, it sucks. It's not awesome. It actually sucks because the advertisements for the game and all that stuff, like it looked cool, it looked good. I'm just not that big of a Star Wars fan to play it or experiencing it, but that sucks.
It's kind of weird because, like, obviously, like I said, PC it seems to have the main issues right now.
Which is more bizarre, isn't it? Don't you think? I don't know.
I think it has a lot to do with a lot of graphic card components. That's why it might have a lot of these bugs. But according to people that play on console, at least PlayStation specifically, people are
Hmm.
saying it's one of the best Star Wars games they've ever played.
Oh, okay, okay.
So it's weird to see like the mass hatred because of these
Polar
constant
opposite.
bugs,
Yeah.
and then when the people
Yeah.
that actually can play it, they're like, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
supposedly they're saying like the saber combat's really good. The fact that Kel, whatever his name is, has like a single lightsaber, but he can also split in two and do a whole bunch of stuff. So hopefully the PC people get it fixed and enjoy an actual Star Wars game they deserve.
And what is it called again? Is it called The Last Jedi? Is that what it's called?
No, I believe that's a movie.
Oh.
This one is
Oh yeah, that is
Star
a movie.
Wars
Yeah.
Survivor, I think.
Survivor. Oh, okay. So what? So timeline wise, what do you know when it's supposed to take place?
Yes, it takes place. Well, the first one takes place
And now,
immediately
now I
at.
sound like a Star Wars nerd. Sorry.
So the first one takes place immediately after Episode 3, where the clones attack the Jedi and all that stuff, and Survivor said a little bit after, like maybe a couple years after, more towards the rise of the Empire.
So the main character, he's supposed to now be the Last Jedi, right? Isn't that the
No,
theme?
there's still a lot of Jedi's left.
Oh, okay,
So
okay.
so the events that are happening between Episode 3 and 4, and so
Oh,
during this timeline, a lot of the Jedi's that survived Order 66 are still
but-
being hunted down by Darth Vader.
gotcha. Okay, when you said 3, I was thinking like 10 or whatever. So my bad. That's my fault.
Yes, number 3 is 10 and 10 is 9.
Or whatever number the third trilogy was. I am not the Star Wars nerd, so I don't know. That's interesting. I mean, it's not awesome. It sucks that's happening. That just came out funny.
Dude, I know you're not a Star Wars fan, and the reason why I think I want to bring this up is obviously because I feel bad for the PC players because I want them to enjoy a good Star Wars game. But dude, Star Wars has been knocking out of the park recently with just all stuff. Like their shows like obviously The Mandalorian, Andor, The Bad Batch, Dave Filoni and John Favreau. I think that's how you say his name. They need to be
Mhm.
they need to be in control. Whoever that girl is that's the head of Disney, she needs to get out of there because she's ruining Star Wars because she wants to remake the sequel trilogy, the sequel trilogy, and add Daisy Ridley back. And I'm like, they had no story. Leave them alone. Let these two take control of Star Wars because they know how to make the story good.
Interesting. I didn't even read about that. So I know it wasn't a topic, but I guess really quickly, the news came out with The Witcher. So that'll be coming out in 2 waves. What was it? June, right? Is that
June and
June?
July, right?
Yeah, right. So that's an interesting approach.
So I actually did.
Sure.
I actually meant to make this a topic because
Yeah, I know.
I'm seeing a lot of things. Because I know we talked about season 4 or the green light for season 4, and it's gonna be Liam Hemsworth. But a lot of
Hmm.
people are saying that this might actually be the final season because they're almost making it seem like it's the final season. Like they're doing two parts,
I,
and they're kind of like saying this is the end. Watch the
I
thing
think
unfold.
I think I kind of feel you on that one. I feel like that's why they're splitting it because they're gonna see what happens, right, with ratings and see it's like, okay, let's do this break. Do we greenlight this new one or do we just close the door on it? I'm with you on that, or with if people are saying that, I kind of agree with that sentiment because once I saw that part of it, like, why would they do a split? Like, did they ever do that with Netflix shows? Like,
And if you look at the trailer, they're specifically hyping up to like a conclusion.
oh, I didn't even know there's a trailer. I
Yeah,
just thought it
it's
was
like
the
a minute
poster.
trailer.
Oh, see, I didn't even see that.
Yeah, they're like watch the story unfold, or I can't remember the exact phrasing, but it's like watch how this unfolds, and then there's like a lot of clips of like the Wild Hunt, which is
Mm.
kind of like their Sauron.
So, speaking of trailers, another trailer for a Peacock show came out today. That's
Oh,
actually
Twisted
video game
Metal.
related. Twisted Metal. I didn't watch it with audio, so I have to rewatch it. I know I believe the person that does Sweet Tooth is actually an AEW wrestler right now by the name of Samoa Joe. So that's interesting.
Is that who it is? Because I thought it was Seth Rogen by the way he laughed.
No, no, I believe it's Samoa Joe. Someone will need to fact check that, but yeah, that's interesting. We'll see how that plays out. I mean, who's Anthony Mackie supposed to be? Is it just a new character, or is he actually a Twisted Metal character?
That I
I,
do not know, because like obviously Sweet Tooth and the Demon, because Twisted Metal's a weird like Mad Max kind of like
yeah,
game, but there's also
yeah.
like a demonic presence too. That's why what's his name, the clown, is like a demon lord or whatever. But it seems like they're trying to give like a Mad Max approach with this Anthony Mackie kind of being like the main star, and then Sweet Tooth is kind of like following this guy.
I mean, it was just a teaser, so I don't know story synopsis. I'll have to watch, like I said, I'll have to watch it again with the audio. I don't know if anything was said of relevance, but we'll see. I'm not putting a lot of stock into it. If it's entertaining, I think that's really all you could ask for out of it. You're not really probably going to get, you know, a deep story or anything, or
I'm
hopefully
expecting a lot
acting's
of
good too.
violence
I
and
mean,
a
Anthony
lot
Mackie's a
of
great actor, I
yeah.
think.
No, yeah,
So
he's definitely good.
yeah, so that's a plus, right? Um, we'll see. We'll see.
I just want to
I'm
know.
slightly intrigued.
I want to know which story they're following. Are they going Twisted Metal Black? Are they going Twisted
Oh,
Metal? Are they
Black was
going
so good.
because like
I liked Black.
there's so many different Twisted Metals out there, and obviously some
Mm-hmm.
of them are actually tied together with like chronological order with like Sweet Tooth and the I wish I knew what the demon's name was, and then the demon dying, and then Sweet Tooth kind of taking over that spot as that demon.
Yeah.
So
I honestly, since you mentioned Black, I think that was the last one that I owned. I think I played one or two after, but
back
I
on
didn't really.
PS1.
No, Black was two,
Oh, was it two? I thought it was
three.
PS1. No,
I don't remember.
Black
It
is
was
definitely
not
not
one.
three.
Okay, then it was two. But speaking of like we've had this conversation in the past about games and resurrections. There's one that I don't think Twisted Metal's been used in how long?
Well, I think they actually were gonna use it recently, but there was like some kind of complication, and also, no, actually they did bring it back. I think whatever studio did bring it back, the gameplay was just so underwhelming that they just completely canceled it and they just took it off the shelves. But
Mm,
I know the last
oh,
official real one was on the PS3. I actually own it, and I
mm,
think that was kind of like the final nail in its coffin. It's like
mm,
let's leave the series to rest because it seems like not that many people are interested in it anymore.
mm.
But
I wonder if this could be a resurgence for them.
hopefully,
Because that was another thing we talked about, like what maybe show can convert in resurgence of a video game. That would be a perfect example one if it happens.
I'm gonna make this prediction, and I really don't want to do it because I hope that the show's good, but I think it's gonna fail because a lot of people aren't gonna connect to with the story, and they're also gonna
No.
relate to it too much as Mad Max, even though it's more of like a gratuitous like death race kind of deal.
Mm, it depends on how they want to write the story. I think to their benefit, they they could get a little bit more creative with it. It's not going to be like Emmy award winning type stuff or anything, but like they could lure people in somehow. I don't know. Like
I
I mean,
will.
Mad Max did well.
Well, Mad Max has a story, and people are familiar with its formula.
Not
Twisted
I don't
Metal,
think when if
Twisted Metal, people are gonna like I said, the general public is gonna look
mhm,
at it as Mad Max, and that's not what it is.
yeah.
But I will say, set piece wise, like whatever they did to the world post edit, whatever they made it look like an actual post apocalyptic world because the roads, the forest, all look like they're all burnt, you know, run down. And I thought that
Hmm.
was cool visually how they were able to portray Twisted Metal.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see. I wonder how many episodes it'll be and all that stuff and runtime.
Let's
Like,
make random
I'm sure.
guesses. I'm saying 8.
Yeah, I mean, eight's usually the go-to number, right? And probably maybe they're hour long. I don't think it'd be
They're
30 minutes, but
15 minutes.
oh, they're all just little minis. That'd be hilarious. So yeah, I thought it was fitting to bring that up since we're talking about TV shows. Trying to think what else, mini topic wise, came up this week. I know we got three big ones for today. Let's see. Oh, do you got any other mini topics?
Nothing of huge note. Obviously, Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is coming out soon. And for some reason, and the reason why I'm thinking about this because recently before the podcast, I actually seen that our friend John Henson, obviously he made his group and all that stuff, and they, made a team called the Game Sandwich, I believe it's called, and they're criticizing game journalists and how they're trying to take it back to its core roots. And then the following post, I see an article by IGN talking about Guardians of the Galaxy 3, and they're like, trying to make a big news, like, oh, Marvel finally says fuck in the movie, and I'm like,
Mhm.
when does that become a headline when they say one F word in a Marvel movie?
I think it's because it's Disney.
Well, the funny thing is that Disney actually has a lot of R-rated movies. Like Logan, for example, is one of them. Deadpool's one of them. And
But
I'm
do they
like,
say fuck?
oh, they say a lot of fucks.
Oh, okay. Well, shit. Then never mind. Then there goes. I gotta watch all that
Uh,
stuff, so I don't know.
but I just thought it was hilarious how like the correlation, how like the game sandwich and John were talking about like, bringing actual gaming journalism back to its roots, and then I see how far IGN goes to try to make that a headline where it's really
Mhm.
nothing. I'm
Yeah,
like, that's hilarious that those two are right next to each other.
yeah. That's pretty funny. Keeping it with, I guess, still movie and video game related. But I think today, was it today or yesterday? Mario Brothers finally released in Japan, and before that, I know it passed 900 million. So this is easily going to make over a billion just in theater revenues. Like that is that's huge. Because I mean, we talked about it. I don't think I saw this myself, but awesome. Congratulations to them. That's huge. That's awesome.
Yeah. The one
So
thing I think is hilarious seeing it, the U.S. response to like the cast versus the Asian market, because like when they did their theatrical release here in the U.S., you could see Chris Pratt, Jack Black, Charlie Day, and all that stuff take like the spotlight on the red carpet while I can't pronounce his name because I always forget it. I'm horrible with the names. But the creator of Mario was actually on the red carpet as well. But no one like was like paying any mind to him at all on the red carpet. But when they do
yeah,
it in Asia, he was the headline center while everybody else took like a back seat, which I thought was funny that they actually pay more attention to the creator over there than here.
yeah. I unfortunately didn't see any of that, but that's hilarious. And it kind of makes sense. It shouldn't have been like that. I think even here. I think there should have been definitely a lot more spotlight. Like he is the guy. Like
Mm.
Or say Miyamoto or Miyamoto. Yeah, that's pretty hilarious.
Yeah, I wish I was able to like put pictures up right now, but it's kind of funny seeing like the U.S. red carpet and him just sitting in the background, kind of like kicking his feet, like oh nobody's talking to me, and Jack Black's in front doing his weird Jack Black thing, and people are
I,
taking
I,
pictures.
I think he did have he was being interviewed a lot, but I guess it was more like obviously probably international Japanese people there that were there for the U.S. opening and stuff. Like I remember seeing shots and video footage of him being interviewed, but to your point, it wasn't like I guess glorified would probably be the word to use.
I, this is gonna sound horrible, but I just saw it was hilarious that there was so I can't remember which movie it was. It was in California, but like I said, they're looking at the cast and they're taking pictures, and then one guy, like you said, they're doing one interview, and they're like, "Who is that guy?" The cameras pan to him. They're like, "Oh, he's the creator of Mario." It's like they completely passed him up, thinking he was a nobody. I'm like, he's the central figure on this one.
Do you think that was staged or legit?
No, you could tell by his expression that they're like, "Oh, they don't even know who I am."
That's funny.
I was just like, I
That's
feel bad, but then I also was like, that's really funny at the same time that the only reason why this is happening is because of that guy, and no one knows who that guy is. Like everybody's like, oh, well, Jack Black, what are you doing? Chris Pratt, what are you doing? And then the main guy to the left, everybody's like ignoring him. I'm like, you got gold right there. Go for it.
yeah. I'm trying to think. Like I'm almost positive I know he understands English, but I think he's still, and he could talk a little bit of English, but I think he still likes to handle things with an interpreter.
Oh yeah.
So,
Well,
but
most of them are very professional because like if they don't want to like misrepresent themselves by saying something wrong in English, like
exactly,
I know you don't
exactly.
like Hideo Kojima and all that stuff, but he does the same
Yeah.
thing too. He's very
Yep.
selective with what he says.
Yep. Yep. For sure. And it
Or
makes sense.
Nintendo. Nintendo does the same thing.
Yep. No, and it makes all the sense in the world. So, um, yeah. With that said, I think that's all I have.
I believe that's all I have too. Just looking forward to the near future, and like I said, if you guys are interested with the Zelda playthrough, you know who to check out.
Yeah.
Let's move on to topic number one. So this one,
Numero uno.
okay, so this one is interesting because I didn't want to bring it up, but this one is kind of breaking news. The UK CMA finally did their trials. They blocked the Microsoft Activision deal, which I can't remember how long it took, but supposedly the reason why they blocked it isn't for Sony's claim. It's because they're fearful of their cloud gaming service. And they're also saying that, Xbox is making these 10-year deals, but they also don't know how Call of Duty can physically run on Nintendo Switch, so they're just saying that's false advertisement. But I'm like, you can't say that if they didn't have the chance to develop a game for that thing yet. It's like right now you're trying to count chickens, or not count chickens before they hatch, but like cast
Mm-hmm.
judgment before they could even show any examples.
Hmm. Interesting. Yeah, so I saw this. I read about the cloud component. I did not read what you just stated. It's an interesting way to block it, or like or decision to block it, despite all the other times we talked about this conversation and this topic. This one wasn't on my radar. So very interesting. I don't know how can I put it. I I don't understand really. I guess fully the merit behind it.
I
Like
I think
I
they're
like
good.
no. It's like you know. I still feel like the bigger thing or the bigger defense would be like the monopolization of just having, uh, dare I say, these awesome or large IPs versus the cloud aspect of it. Like
So
they kind of go hand in hand a little bit.
so to to the CMA's point, they actually caught on to something that Sony for some reason didn't catch on to, is that
Mhm,
cloud gaming really is a big issue, because if cloud gaming takes off and you no longer have the need for consoles, they basically corner the market on everything because they have all major games on their platform already. And so I think that's why the CMA was concerned, is that, we're signing 10-year deals, but in 10 years in the future, will there be a need for consoles if cloud gaming really does take over? Because like I know Google tried to do their cast thing where you can play anywhere not having a system. And I think
mhm,
that's kind of where the future is going again, because like obviously we've seen with physical media going digital to
mhm.
cloud gaming where you no longer need a system. And I think that's why the CMA is trying to block that, because they're afraid that if Microsoft owns all these huge corporations and they put it on cloud gaming, they basically own that monopoly for basically the next generation. But at the same time, I think the real concern is, because they did mention this multiple times, is the amount of money Activision has brought in through the microtransactions. And that was just for Call of Duty alone was 1.2 something, 1.28, 1.29 billion. I think that's the number, just from 2022 alone.
Holy shit!
And that's a lot of money, and that's just Call of Duty microtransactions, not everything else.
Wow,
And
that's a that's a
so
ridiculous number.
I think they're
Sorry.
also afraid that, because, as much as I criticize Activision for being extremely money hungry, they're making a lot of money. And I think that's why the UK or CMA, the commission, is afraid, is because they're basically printing money. If Xbox owns that, they're basically making even more money than they need, and they can easily remake their investment back in like a year or two.
Oh yeah. I mean, I guess it's not that surprising when both of us being you play Call of Duty as well, but being a more avid Pokemon Go player in the past, I guess it makes sense to see how much money that game pumped into it. I don't know, like I'm understanding the defense, but at the same time, it's like it's still like the package deal. You're buying a company, and all those layers just come with it. Like, what do you think is going to happen? That those same principles apply with any company they would try to buy out or
Mm-hmm.
or merge. Like that's where I guess I'm still a little, you know, um, confused by it.
So going on from this, because unfortunately it seems like this also might be the final break in the deal, where, because they blocked it, and most likely the acquisition will not go through anymore. That's what a lot of people are speculating, because this is actually a big deal for them. There's still people clinging on to hope, but because of this, Activision seems to be taking their games now. Because since this deal, fell through, and there's been a lot of talk recently, Call of Duty has become extremely paid to win with their microtransactions. And
Mm-hmm.
it seems like other games under this Activision umbrella are starting to get hit with a lot of pay to win microtransactions, and I wonder if they're purposely trying to tank their games so they can push this deal through. Because like Call of
Now
Duty,
that now
before they used to keep it cosmetic, but
now
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 their
that sounds
cos
like a huger issue to me than anything. If you're purposely making your game to earn more revenue, like I don't know
well,
how.
when I say they're tanking their game, I'm talking about they're doing it in a way where they ruin perspective. So because I'm not sure if you've seen, but there's the Activision stock has actually dropped like $9. I think it was like $12 recently, but it took a significant hit. But I think they're trying to do that to prove to the point, or to prove that the head office wasn't in Bobby whatever. They don't want to be in heads anymore, so they were like, well, just pass it on to Microsoft. If not, we're gonna ruin this company. Because, like I said, Call of Duty before as much as they're overpriced cosmetics, it was just cosmetics. Now it's um, characters with certain abilities, like having extra armor, which is basically pay to win, or certain weapons that are tuned a certain way to be better than other your base weapons that you can only get by buying it. And as much as I criticized Call of Duty before, it was never that way to begin with. It wasn't pay to win, except for maybe Advanced Warfare supply drops. But this time they brought back, and I'm like, we're seeing Call of Duty, and we're potentially seeing an Overwatch will happen to World of Warcraft, Diablo, and all that other stuff.
Hope not. I know, was it Immortal had that component. I haven't heard anything about 4 having it. Currently, it doesn't exist in WoW, thankfully. Let's see. I think. I mean, that's just shitty. It's like, thankfully, I've never played a game where that's been a component. At least I don't think I've. That would be like, I don't know how people could continue to play games that can't afford that. Like, I just don't get it. I don't know where the mindset is with that. Knowing that you can't really, I mean, unless you're just simply having fun, that's different. But if you have any competitive desire, it's completely ruined if you can't put money into it. And Activision's part for doing that. I mean, we talk about the different scummy things microtransactions are. Like, that's just, I mean, they're getting their money, right? So it's like, why stop? But when we talk about the ethical aspect, I don't know. I guess, like, to your point, if he is on his way out, or thinks he's on his way out, and on all the other executive leadership, yeah, they're probably just trying to milk every penny while they can while they're still in there.
Yeah, because if the deal doesn't go through, his severance package is no longer valid. Because the reason, if Microsoft were to buy him, that's where he would get his huge money to be bought out, so he moves. If Microsoft doesn't acquire them, he no longer gets a huge buyout.
Well, now people probably won't want the merger because a lot of people want to see him suffer.
Well, I think that's why he's, like you said, he's milking it for as much money as he can, because he's like, all right, fine, if this deal doesn't go through, I'll tank this company to the ground and take all the money with me. Like I said, this this has just been a recent trend for Call of Duty. Like, it just started happening within like the last like 2 weeks, with all these microtransactions coming out, being kind of paid to win. And I'm like, let's see if it starts trickling to other games, and that's how you know their purpose is trying to tank their company. And that'd be a really huge deal if Activision is trying to hurt themselves purposely because of this.
Well, so where it always boils down to, where I say, the consumers I always feel will have the ultimate control, and that is controlling your wallet and saying no. I'm trying to think of a good idea where, I mean, it wasn't really successful. Go back to the Pokemon Go approach and I knew it wasn't going to be successful, about people saying like, oh, we're going to stop rating for whatever it was, 1 day. It's like, they don't get her laughing at you guys.
7 days.
Or the 7 days, whatever it was. Like, no, you quit. As hard as it is, because I know it's addicting. We all have a little bit of that addicting mentality. Like, no, you have to put your foot down. No is no. Enough is enough. I think history has shown, as a race, we're not really good at doing that. But we'll see. That's the only way I could see it backfiring on them.
So I am interested to see how this is going to play out, because I know Xbox is trying to work around the CMA by going through the courts and trying to get it appealed. Like I said, it seems like the general populace, discussion right now is that it's not going to go through because this is such a huge block. But I wonder if they do throw their money around, if they can get it around the courts area, because supposedly there's a lot of legal things backing them up. Obviously, as much as I don't want to agree with the CMA on this one, but they do have a valid point with the whole cloud thing, because that realistically is looking to be the future of next generation gaming. but we'll see what the courts are saying when they get appealed. But do you think it's going to go through, or do you think this is actually the final stop and Activision's going to stay single until they kill themselves?
Oh man, damn. I need to read into it more. I think to kind of come up with a more valid opinion. Uh, I was kind of, dare I say, looking forward to it, but I don't know. I don't know. I will say, I mean, based on what you told me and just like your little brief education, if it really is that big of a deal and then it might not go through, which I think would be definitely still even yet another blockbuster announcement because we've talked about this a couple few times, and like I said, this definitely wasn't on my radar as a thing to actually sever the deal. Um, and everybody was like, "Oh no, whatever hurdle comes across, they're gonna come across it." But you're feeling pretty confident this actually might be something to stop it.
Yeah,
I'll
because
kind of ride with what you're telling is it probably won't go through.
it's just funny how the CMA, like obviously the whole headline was Sony was trying to block this, and they brought
Yeah.
up a whole bunch of points, and the
Hmm.
CMA is like, yeah, whatever Sony was saying, that's not a concern. And then the CMA immediately pulls cloud gaming. They're like, no, this is an issue. We gotta look at.
Yeah, I think that's what makes it more interesting, right? It's like Sony kind of was a catalyst for putting the spotlight on the whole ordeal, and they're kind of bringing this up without Sony's, dare I say, help. I mean, who knows what really goes behind the scenes, but just optically, it looks like no, this is why. Like now what you're saying, Sony, no one cares. This is why. Uh, I think that's what gives it more credence, right? And why it probably won't go through. Which I guess riddle me this, right? Let's say it doesn't go through. Riddle me this, Batman. Um, do you think Activision then still seeks out sale elsewhere?
I think they will work around the system by utilizing contracts to get extreme exclusivity from them. Basically, doing like a buyout, but not official buyout. If that makes sense. Like they'll work with, how
They'll
like,
sell off their IPs individually?
well, they could either do that or they could do the Sony slash Square Enix approach where they purposely partner with that company. They put them under their umbrella unofficially, and games specifically only go to them.
Hmm.
Like they'll do like a huge contract deal. They're like, all right, 100, obviously 100 million is lowballing on Activision, but like let's say $100 million. They get Call of Duty, Activision, Overwatch, whatever games they decide to use, and it only comes to um, Game Pass or like Xbox because they technically can do that. And this is like their workaround from the courts.
Hmm.
And I also wonder if we have a CMA because CMA is Competition Market Authority, and I'm assuming we probably have a version like that in the U.S. And obviously, the reason why I'm asking is because I know the U.S. would be biased towards Microsoft because it's a U.S. corporation. But I
Hmm.
wonder what they would say against the UK's version of it. Like if there's like
Hmm.
some kind of workaround for cloud gaming, or if because cloud gaming is such a untapped area right now that they're still trying to navigate their waters.
Is it is it possible that cloud gaming could only be regional? As silly as that sounds.
What do you mean by that?
Well, what I mean by that is like hypothetically, okay, this doesn't go through, okay, fine. Then in that part of the world, we just don't have cloud gaming. Everything still has to be via console and or digital versus in here in America is you know
Oh yeah, you could
the,
definitely do that, but there wouldn't be a point
yeah,
for it.
right.
That that
I'm just throwing it out there as a really crazy hypothetical. Like it's like okay, fine, fuck off. I mean, you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot by going forward with that, of course.
well,
But
that's what I'm saying is that if they go down that route, they'll be like, okay, Sony's got a free market in that region now. There will be no competition, so Sony will just take over. That's why I would never see Microsoft purposely excluding a country because of their decision. Because it would, like you said, it'd just be shooting themselves in the foot. Because
mhm.
Sony would just easily say, "Oh, hey, look at that! We got PlayStation Plus. Go to our cloud service. Well, I don't know what theirs is. I think it's like
I'd be
Azure or something.
interested to know. I mean, Activision obviously a lot like a lot of companies. They'll post. I think they have to by law, their quarterly earnings and stuff. But to take that step further, like I kind of wonder like not which, I would say all their IPs, like which parts of the world are more lucrative to them than others. Because I kind of feel like maybe with the exception of Call of Duty, but a lot of the Blizzard IPs probably really make a lot more money in the U.S. Maybe. I mean,
So,
China was a different thing, but now China's not even involved because of the NetEase thing. But like, it makes me wonder.
I can tell you this: Overwatch is definitely more popular overseas compared to America. Obviously, it's still popular in America, but like
Mm-hmm.
the Chinese market,
Well,
the
Chinese right now
UK,
don't have anything Blizzard.
I think they still have Overwatch.
Mm-mm. I don't think. How would they have Overwatch and not the other ones? That doesn't make any sense to me. I think it's their entire BattleNet.
That'd be interesting because I keep maybe if Korea's excluded from that, I don't know, but I know that Overwatch is definitely more popular with the UK people on them. If it's no longer with China, then they probably took a huge loss right there because they were kind of holding Overwatch up for a while. Call of Duty, even without Blizzard, they technically can't have it over there because of some kind of law. It's too violent, and they actually have to like
Mm-hmm.
censor it. Like their version
Mm-hmm.
of Call of Duty wasn't actually an
It's,
online pirated version until Call of Duty Mobile came out, and also they had to make extreme changes, like with blood. It's now
mm-hmm.
yellow paint.
But I was gonna say it's gonna be like Splatoon, but Call of Duty.
Well, that's what they have to do. Like any
Yeah.
like shooter game, it has to be like some kind of yellow paint or whatever. Or well, it doesn't
Interesting.
have to be yellow, but like it has to be like a different color than blood.
Mm-hmm.
Which I thought was
Interesting.
weird that they have that as like a rule over there.
Yeah, I know. That's maybe we're thinking of the same country. I don't know what it is either, but I know I saw that with in regards to anime.
Oh,
So
yeah, the sense.
you probably know of a particular meme
Oh,
that I'm talking
I
about.
know many memes where the censoring is white, and I'm like,
Yeah,
oh, that's
yeah,
horrible.
yeah. So you know. So anyways, I wonder if that's the same country then.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, they're
so
censoring. I mean, obviously China, Japan, Korea, they all have different censoring laws and obviously
mhm.
different color palettes for them. But whoever chose the white censoring palette for anime, dude, they need to make it blue or
that was
something.
that was purposeful. You know that.
But it's just funny, like you see like like a character like getting stabbed and you just see white coming out of their mouth. I'm like, oh no.
My kind of anime. But yeah, I think like this has been going. We've been talking about this for quite some time. It's obviously still not over with. This is to your point. It is breaking news. What was it? Did it come out like 2 days ago?
It
But I remember
actually
seeing that.
came out yesterday,
Oh, yesterday.
later
Okay,
in the PM.
okay. I just do remember seeing it all over my feed too. I just didn't drill through it,
I
but
think the reason why I'm talking about this is because a lot of the journalists I follow, the ones that are usually really credible,
yeah,
um, they're having a lot of discussions about this and how this is like a huge impact. Like basically, it just shuts the whole deal down completely. And if they say that, then I kind of take their word for it, just because they kind of have more of a sense behind this.
yeah. I just think it's funny how I read some comments. Like instead of reading the article, I'm over here freaking reading comments. Someone's like, oh, this ain't gonna go through. Why does UK have say what two US companies could do with each other? And I'm like, it's like kind of a little bit of a valid point, but when you talk about, I mean, but video games are a worldwide, um, entertainment. So this is why they have to go through these type of hurdles.
I just thought it was also equally interesting, obviously besides the cloud gaming thing, is that they purposely brought up Activision's earning just for Call of Duty's microtransaction. I'm like, are they really concerned about cloud gaming, or are they just afraid how much money that this prints? Because I know they've had that conversation before with the Electronic Arts (EA) with the FIFA franchise.
Hmm.
What the money actually goes into their pockets because FIFA, the corporation, how they fund certain countries. And I'm
Hmm.
like, I wonder if this is more of a money issue than actual control for the future.
I can see how that makes sense for FIFA though, because like that's really in some capacity their intellectual property. I know we're talking about countries and stuff like that, but like that kind of makes sense to me. Like royalties really should be involved with that stuff, and it's actually surprising me that that's we tend to talk about contracts every now and then. Like that's not a clause, right? It's like, oh, every copy sold, your country gets $1, your country gets $1. Or if there's microtransactions involved, then hey, you get your cut depending on how many times your logo is being downloaded or whatever. I don't know. With Call of Duty, I just don't like who cares how much money the companies make. I think the COD one makes a little bit more sense because you're kind of like premeditating taking over the market if things go the way you think it will, and by you I mean like the world, whatever.
And I hate
I,
to say it,
I,
but like Xbox has predicted everything correctly so far. Like, do you remember 2013 when Xbox and PS4 came out? How Xbox got a lot of hate saying, "Oh yeah, we're always online, everything's digital and all that stuff," and they got a lot of hate for that. And then the market shortly later ended up being exactly how they said it was going to be.
yeah, I don't vividly remember that, but they weren't right on everything. I mean, they kind of failed with the HD DVD thing, so let's
Well,
not give them all the credit.
HD DVD was it was during 360 times, but in 2013 they have predicted the market correctly every single time so far. You know that saying they were just ahead of their time. I don't think they
Yeah,
were ahead of their time. I think they spoke too soon because they knew how the market was going to go. They predicted more digital sales. They predicted everything being online, and they got a lot of hate for saying that in 2013. But
mhm.
2015, 16, 17, you see that being the mainstay. And I'm like, they're probably correct about cloud gaming being the next iteration too, because people want to go. People love digital. It's a convenience factor. Also, well, I'm saying a lot of people
I
like to
know,
have
I know, I know,
convenience,
I know, I know, I know.
and
To
also
that
it saves room without not having a console. And if you could play it on your TV or your phone or whatever,
to that point, like when I was at Best Buy earlier picking up the Switch, I was like, oh, let me go take a look at the DVD section today. Where's the DVD section?
oh, it's a very small section, and
It's
it's
like it's probably the size of my damn freaking bookcases is how big it is.
yeah,
I was like, fuck, man, like that was. I remember back in the day going to Best Buy, spending over an hour just getting lost at the DVD section or even the CD section. Like it's a little sad. But anyway, it is Microsoft. They should know better, right? They're the catalyst of technology for decades. It makes sense. It makes sense. They are ahead of the times. They might be a little bit secret about it. Sometimes they let out a little too early, but to your point, they probably are right. They wouldn't be a successful company like they are today without those type of knowledges.
yeah. And the fact that you can already see it, the works and play, with them working with Nintendo with all their cloud services, and they also basically help Sony with their system with Azure or Zool, whatever it's called.
Mhm.
So it's like it's they already established their place in the future.
The one thing I guess I mean, as I kind of tongue in cheek said it right now moments ago, like as much as I still like my physical stuff, and I always will. Uh, the one thing that does entice me with clouding is the fact that yes, I could, to your point, buy it once and then play it wherever. Like to me, that is kind of a pinnacle. Like I still would love some tangibles, like oh, here's your code to now claim it cloud-wise.
Mm.
Hey, give it to me. That's probably my equilibrium. But the thing with me, I guess, like I'm not fully sold on it, and if it's the future, of course, I'm probably just gonna have to bow down and well, welcome to cloud gaming. Uh, I we'll see. It's very very interesting. I got
I
to
will
read up more about it.
I will make this prediction though. I think Nintendo's going to be the last bastion of physical media. Because, like I said, as
And
much as I've criticized them
I'll
for
say thank you,
being,
Nintendo.
well, yeah, like I said, as much as I've criticized them before, I think this will be the one time they may save me with physical media. Because, like, as much as like the Switch is very popular, they're still doing a lot of physical releases, which I'm thankful for.
Here's another thing I wonder because you had mentioned to me because I believe I asked you before on a previous podcast that the Xbox also has two different consoles, right? Like one with still a disc and another without, like the
Yes.
PS5. Okay,
So you got the Xbox Series X, which is the premium version with the disc and all that
okay,
stuff, and then you have the
okay.
Xbox Series S that does take a hit in performance, but it's very compact, very small, and it's all
Hmm.
digital.
Okay, so that's like another factor that I wonder, like, what's the breakdown of sales between the two systems? Because I feel like that would be kind of a driving point as far as how you would predict and envision cloud gaming going, right? Because you would think the audience that is already settling on digital are organically going to be the ones that are going to gravitate and go into cloud, right?
Well, I
In
think
my
this is
opinion, I
also
don't know. I could be told.
a false analysis too, because the digital version is
I'm
also
not saying.
much cheaper as well. So it kind of brings people towards that because it's like $150 difference.
Yeah, true, true. But with that like with that approach, I get it. You're not going to get a one for one like or I'm sorry, 100% buy-in. Like that's not your natural conversion. I get that. But what I am saying is like that pool of people versus the physical pool of people are more than likely going to gravitate to the cloud immediately or force or probably maybe even looking forward to it. What
Oh,
have you?
I could already tell from all the polls people are doing from both PlayStation and Xbox is that digital is definitely in the majority of purchases
Really?
compared to
Okay,
physical.
see, so that's kind of ultimately my question without me asking the question.
Yeah, like
Because
if you look at the
those are things
sales
that
for
I
like
wonder.
digital PS5 and digital
Mhm,
Xbox Series S, they're
mhm,
much higher than Series X and PS5 disc. It also could be due to, like I said, price and also availability, but
mhm.
their sales are definitely much greater than the other ones.
Interesting. Because I know, like, I guess now I'm slightly bringing a mini topic in right now with this topic, although I don't have the facts in front of me. But I know, like, once again, it was on social media. Like today, I was coming across how like how how great the PS5 sales have been this year in totality,
Yeah, like
and where it's
31.4 million units or whatever.
something, and I think something that they're projecting over 50, which would be like even better than the PS2 era. So once again, those are numbers, but I would like to see that 50-50 breakdown of okay, which ones were disc versus which ones were digital. Um, just dare I say for entertainment purposes, but because I think it does build that value to where the market is. I mean, to your point, like I know there's probably a large group of people that are doing it simply for the price aspect and may not even care, right? That's true.
Well, digital is always, in my opinion, it's gonna win regardless because, like I said, the convenience factor. A lot of people doing it as like a recreational consuming thing. Because like one of the benefits of digital, which is most likely another reason why it's gonna succeed, is that let's say if you buy a video game. I have a brother. I game share. If you buy digital, you don't have to buy the game twice. You can buy it on one profile, and you can game share with another profile, and it's still one purchase, but two people can play the same game.
Hmm.
You can't do that with physical media. You literally have to put the disc in and switch profiles.
No, I get that, and I just wonder how much even that, if you want to call it quality of life or whatever, is even being taken advantage of. Like, and maybe I'm totally wrong with this, but like I feel like my thing with the digital, and I know cloud kind of resolves this a little bit, is the whole memory issue, right? With digital, your hard, we're just talking about swapping hard drives and shit, right? Like these games, some of these games, I'm guessing Call of Duty may even be one of them, but like I always kind of talk about sports games, they take up so much fucking memory.
Well,
And
unfortunately, video games now, especially discs, they don't actually hold most of the data on there. It's basically like a CD key that unlocks the data. Because if you put like a PS5 disc in, you still gotta do a download from the system. It has to be online.
but it's not that I mean, and you could tell me shut the fuck up, Steve, you're wrong. But I don't think it's the same exact amount of memory. Yes, it may still be a lot of memory, but it's not the same as a full digital download.
So, well, it is the same thing. The only thing, so what you're getting with the disc right now is you're getting the. Well, I'm trying to make sure I phrase this correctly. Um, so you're getting the base version of that game, right?
Hmm.
You're still ripping that from the disc, but
Yeah.
because of patches and also the final version of that, the final
Hmm.
build of that,
Hmm.
that's where you download the actual full game online to replace that base version of what you have on the disc. It's kind of like a computer CD key. You're putting that in, that just unlocks the data, but you still have to download that physical or that download the actual game data from online now. It's not like where you plop into PS3, it says loading and that's it. you're downloading the game from online. It's just the CD key. That's it.
Okay, so where I'm confused, and I'll admit I'm an idiot. Where I'm confused, and with that said, then why is it that you're still required to have the disc in to play the game? That's not equating to me.
This is the one question I don't
Because
have.
if
Like it holds a
okay,
portion of that data, but it doesn't hold all the data. That's all I can say. Is that's
okay,
what I know.
what I still said is true, but what you're telling me is that amount is pretty minute in the grand scheme of things for the totality of the game, plus
Yeah.
any patches and deals. Understood. Got it. Still not the whole game, but got it.
Like if you look at the back of like your physical case, it'll say like so and so like it'll like be like 58 gigabytes whatever, and then when you download it's like really more like 80 to 100.
4 gigabytes minimum.
Yeah, so that's basically taking the foundation of your game and putting it in there. But unfortunately, you still have to re-download the actual game from online, which is the stupidest thing.
Oh, I mean this is I'll probably do a little I mean this game in comparison to a lot of games is probably a small memory amount anyway. Uh, but I'm gonna do check that out a little bit just because now I'm curious. And
And it's
I'm actually,
also
you know what's funny? This game came with an instruction manual. Games don't really come with instruction manuals anymore. I was floored by that.
one
And
thing
sorry.
I am interested in because I would love to learn more about this too is that it seems like games that have more assets to them, like more background components, are much higher in data. Because I actually have a PS5 game that's only 2 gigabytes.
Mm,
And I'm like, that's really low, and but obviously it's a shorter game. There's
mm,
not as many moving parts in it, and it doesn't have to load as much. And I'm like, I
mm,
wonder if the assets really does make the difference. That's inside,
mm.
like how many objects it loads, um, and other things like that, like lighting issues or lighting and sound parts as well.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'm very. You know, these are super nerd topics, I guess. We're nerds, but yeah, I'm curious to kind of now learn a little bit more on that because it always I wouldn't say baffled me, but like I just said right now, it just doesn't seem to equate to me, right? Based on what you're telling me, which I know makes sense. Like I understand because every game I put in, new download awaits, or like I get
Well,
that. Like you
it's
need
just
to
like
get.
if you have like a PS4 disc and you put in the PlayStation, but there's a PS5 version, you're not getting the PS4 disc version, but you still have to keep that PS4 disc in, which is stupid. I'm not sure if you've seen that where, like, for example, Final Fantasy VII, you put that in your
Mhm.
system, it'll be like, oh, the PS5 version's there, but you still got to keep your PS4 disc in, even though the PS5
Yeah,
game, you have to
yeah.
download another version of that.
Right. Yeah, yeah. That is the perfect example.
And a
Yeah,
lot of games are doing that. So that's what I'm saying. It's just a CD key, and you really do have to download the full game
but
online.
even with like even the CD key approach, it's like
It's just showing proof of purchase. That's really what it is.
no, I get that, but it's like why can't that encryption also then be saved on your console so then you no longer need the disk? You know what I'm saying? Like that
That's the answer I
that I
don't
just
have.
yeah, and that's like the other side of the coin that I'm like it just doesn't make sense. But
Yeah.
you know, whatever it is, what it is. Yeah, it is okay, so let's go back to the actual topic real quick. So deals, I guess I shouldn't say it's been 100% blocked, right? Like they still need to, they have the opportunity to appeal, so it
There's
still
still a
could go
chance that
through
they take it through
court.
the court, not through
Okay,
CMA. That's why the appealing process is happening.
so is there?
There's no actual date. They're still going through the
Okay,
paperwork.
okay,
There, like I said, there's no court date either. So if
okay.
there is, we'll see. But obviously, the appeal has to go through. They could
Hmm.
easily get blocked, and then this whole deal's dead in the water.
I think the other question you asked, I also find very intriguing is I wonder what the U.S. version of CMA, or if it's exactly called a CMA, thinks on this issue. I think
Well, we
that
have to
would be
have a competitive market authority. I mean, obviously, it's probably not called a CMA, but I'm pretty sure we
yeah,
have
yeah,
a
exactly.
competition,
Mhm. Oh,
whatever
100%.
that we have.
Yeah, because I mean, you know, they also have that same job, right? Trying to not allow monopolies to happen. So,
Well, at
uh,
least not monopolies from foreign companies. Let's be honest; they're going to be biased towards American companies if it's an American CMA. Just like UK will be biased towards their UK company as well. It's just they
mhm.
want to benefit the country more than anything else.
For sure, but I think, how should dare I say it that way? You
But it'd be
know,
cool to see like their law comparisons. what they judge
Yeah,
by.
yeah. I think that would be very interesting. So we'll obviously follow up on it. And anybody else that has comments and about this topic, please share them with us. What are your thoughts?
And also, if you do have an explanation why you still need a CD for playing PS4 and
Yeah,
PS5
that would be.
versions, we'd
Yeah,
love to
there
hear
you
that
go.
too.
Yeah, go ahead, share that with us too. Um, and if you're for or against this block, where were you from the start? Has your opinion changed throughout any of this process? All those good things, like let us know.
I love how, but I know we're moving on. I just love how they're calling out Microsoft saying, "Oh yeah, how can you promise Call of Duty on Nintendo because it can't run on that?" I'm like, you didn't give them a chance to make a Call of Duty that can run on Nintendo yet. I just saw this play that they're like kind of bashing Nintendo without bashing Nintendo. Like it's
I get
actually in the document, like, oh, it's false advertise or false pretense or whatever, saying
that.
that there's not the Nintendo Switch is not capable of processing Call of Duty at this moment.
That's hilarious. Poor Nintendo.
But I was
I,
just like,
I,
yo, give a chance to develop a game for it at least.
I still love you.
But I just thought that's funny. But moving on to topic number 2. So this one is more of a personal interest for me. I know we talked about competition before, but it's EVO 2023 and its lineup.
Funny that is that the official Evo logo on the top left? It almost looks like Adidas to me from afar.
Yeah, the 3 little triangle
Yeah,
dots, whatever.
yeah.
So, have you ever paid attention to EVO?
No, not like you or most people. I mean, I know. Okay, so my knowledge is I know it's a video game fighting tournament
It's
type
like the
thing.
World Series of
Yeah,
fighting game
exactly. Yeah,
tournaments.
and then it's all an array of fighting games. It's not just explicitly to one. Like I think this one shows 8 of them. Um, so yeah, that much is what I know. I know, like I've seen some videos online, like highlights and how massive and I mean it looks cool. It's a grand stage. It's awesome.
So the reason why I'm bringing this is for a couple of reasons. So one, I believe Evo was bought up by Sony, so they're
Oh,
officially owned by Sony, and Sony's been
oh,
cracking up their competitions. They've been hosting a lot more online tournaments. They're starting to make it more prominent on their system. You know, promoting weekend tournaments. They're trying to get new competitors into the scene as well by helping them out. And then these are actual work. These are also working to qualifiers for regional tournaments, and eventually these regional tournaments will lead to Evo, which I think is interesting. I don't know if there's a cutoff point because Evo is happening, I believe, in June or July of this year. But I thought that was pretty cool that PlayStation really is trying to ramp up this competitive scene for multiple different, games, like Street Fighter, Guilty Gear, Dragon Ball Fighter Z, Tekken 7, King of Fighters, Mortal Kombat, Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, which I'm surprised that's still going. I thought there'd be another game that they would do,
wow.
but yeah, they're really hyping up a bunch of these games, and they're trying to get a lot of people all motivated to actually compete and show their worth. Um, so I think that's really good. I also was looking at tickets because Evo. I mean, I've watched it every single year since like I don't know, maybe 2010. I think there was one year where it was actually canceled, but I've been watching it religiously.
COVID.
Be, maybe most likely, but I've been watching it because there's a player called Sonic Fox that's played in multiple franchises from like Super Smash Bros. To Mortal Kombat and some other stuff. And obviously, he just dominates the scene. There's other players I'll watch here. But, seeing that's bought by Sony, I wonder if the prize pool is going to be bigger. I think this is also in Japan. And even though as much as this is the biggest fighting tournament in the world,
Mhm.
the tickets are actually relatively cheap. It's only like $108.
Only?
And that's for like the late pass. If you got the
Oh,
early bird, it'd be like $75.
well, what kind of seat are you getting?
Well,
Because I'm sure it's not first come, first sit your ass down, is it?
I think the like the championship Sunday thing kind of is like maybe preceded, but because there's so many games, they actually have multiple sections, and it is first come first serve. It's
Oh, okay.
basically you get there, you seat yourself.
Mm.
I don't know what the championship day is like,
Hmm.
but like I said, the tickets are relatively cheap in my opinion. Like $75 for
So,
the biggest tournament of fighting.
so is that just a 1 day ticket or the whole event, like multi-day?
From what I seen, it's the whole tournament.
Okay, that's not bad then. Okay,
That's
that's all I was trying to gauge. I'm like, well, no, I mean, I'm not poo-poo it, but like, because I spend hundreds of dollars on freaking wrestling tickets, and I'm like, I love video games, but part of me is like, kind of seems pricey for a video game tournament. But if it's the whole week end or whatever, the whole event, I think that's a fantastic price point.
Oh well, this isn't just a single video game tournament; it's a multiple
No,
video
no,
game tournament.
exactly. Multi-video game, multi-day. We'll just round it up or down to $100. No, that I think that's a great price point.
But
Where's it going to be held at?
I believe it's Japan. I could be wrong on that, but from
Oh,
what I've seen is that it's in Japan.
so you're trying to want to go to Japan?
See, this is one of the tournaments that I would love to participate in real life as a spectator. I think the atmosphere would be electric, and I just think that it's just gonna be an energetic crowd. That's it.
So you have one of these?
I do have one of those.
Oh, well, go, man. That'd be great.
Well, unfortunately, I didn't
Oh.
pre-plan for this, so this year I will not be in. But next year it would be a goal of mine to go there. I don't know if
Is it always in Japan?
that I do not know.
Oh, okay.
Because most of the time I don't really pay attention to that. I just watch online.
Gotcha.
But it is interesting to see this lineup because a lot of people are speculating that Tekken 8 was actually going to be announced during this Evo tournament. Because I don't think they have like an actual physical release date yet. I think it's like either late half of 2023 or early 2024. So there's a lot of rumors that Tekken 8 is going to be kind of like officially revealed at this tournament. There's also a lot of speculation that there might be like another Marvel or Capcom game announced as well. Also, this is the first time Street Fighter 6, is it Street Fighter 6 or 7? That's actually being played, and I'm not sure if you've seen the gameplay, but the new Street Fighter game is looking really good.
I haven't watched a lot of gameplay, if I'm being honest. I like because they have like a really large, create a fighter type thing going on this time around, right? And I think their previous adaptations of it were not great, so I'm not optimistic about it. Let's put it that way.
So you didn't watch any gameplay of the new Street Fighter?
I haven't. No, I haven't. No, I haven't really watched a lot. And then the last one really left a fucking sour taste in my mouth. So it's like I haven't been keeping up with it. Like,
yeah, Street Fighter 5 was
Street
bad.
Fighter has been letting me down.
So
not that I was a humongous fan back in the day, but like I grew up playing them on Super Nintendo, and played a few here and there. But yeah, they've.
So I have been watching it recently because I've been watching a streamer called Maximilian Dude. You probably heard of him. He's another prominent figure in the fighting game community, and some other people. Dude, there's this actual like I wouldn't say it's like a free roam, but it's kind of like a my character thing, like my story, where you go around and beat random civilians, and these civilians are actually fighters as well. Where you can like randomly walk up in the street, punch a guy, and that immediately starts a fighting sequence.
Interesting.
So it seems like they definitely have stepped up their game. They've seen their criticisms from 5, and it looks like they are actually fixing the wrongs that they had from the previous game.
Okay, I'll go out and watch more footage. I just haven't, like I said, I just haven't done it. That last one, man, it just disappointed me so much.
It's kind of funny that you mentioned that because, like, I think I mentioned this before. Maybe it's on the previous episodes or personal, but Street Fighter 5 is actually on PlayStation Plus, and they have 3 different versions on PlayStation Plus. They have Street Fighter 5, the arcade edition, and like the Ultimate Edition. I'm like, why would you have those 3? Just give me the Ultimate Edition. That's the complete version. It's like, why would you give me the other 2 choices?
Well, I don't know. Once again, I only played the legit base version of the game, and the base version of the game was extremely shit. But usually when they have because they're notorious for doing this in the past, right? Like, when they have like the turbo one and then the super turbo one or whatever it is, like there usually is different mechanics in the fight style, just enough to kind of separate them. I don't know if that's still true with these modern day versions, but in the past, like it did have that for sure.
Yeah, I can't speak for that because I've been looking. I'm like, I don't have Street Fighter 6. I almost kind of want to get because of how much I've been watching it recently.
So when did it come out?
I think it came out like close to a month ago, maybe 3 weeks ago.
Okay.
Like it's a fairly recent release. But yeah, it looks good. The character models are great. The stage and fighting look good. Also, just like I said, the my character creation and just like
Mhm.
walking through the streets randomly fighting civilians, and they basically into like Street Fighter characters as well, which is hilarious.
So I could only assume, but the created characters are probably gonna be banned, right, from
Oh yeah,
tournaments?
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
You got the set list like you always said. Those are the competitive characters, but the my character is more of like single player, like fun. It's kind of like
Gotcha.
how do you
Just the
say
story
it?
mode.
Yeah, like you know how like Mortal Kombat had like their combat journey.
Mhm,
It's the same
mhm.
difference.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'll check out more footage of it. Maybe, you know, because see that's the one thing the previous game lacked was a story mode, right? So it's like at least at its launch, I don't know if they added something in the future, but like I said, they lost me, really lost me. So I mean that alone sounds like it's, I don't know if it's worth the whole whatever it is, 60 or 70 bucks that it costs now, but it's I'll take a look at it. I'll take a
I will say that if it's on sale relatively cheap, like $30, I'm definitely picking it up because it's already piqued my interest. But going back to the reason why I was bringing back Evo up is that, like I said, there's a lot of rumors. Tekken 8 seems to be the biggest one that's more almost like a shoe in at this point. But because of how often Ed Boon's been teasing a lot of these certain games, Mortal Kombat, people are thinking that another Mortal Kombat's on the horizon, which would be weird
Mhm,
because they didn't make an Injustice 3 yet.
mhm.
So people are saying maybe we might get Shaolin Monks 2, or we might get another Mortal Kombat like 12 or something like that because of how often he's tweeting and he's asking certain things. So that's speculation. Another Dragon Ball's game maybe, which I know you're not into, but a lot of people love Dragon Ball. Which is to me, this is the one thing weird thing that's gotten me about fighting games I've never truly understand is that with the fighting game community for Dragon Ball, they had two versions. They had Dragon Ball Fighter Z, and then they had the newest release, which was Dragon Ball Kakarot. But for some reason, they removed Kakarot from the lineup and they went back to Fighter Z, which is an older game
I mean, I'm pretty sure that's
because better
um
combat and better
I would
experience.
say community
Yeah,
driven. Yeah, they probably have their algorithms with like Twitch viewing and all that shit. Like, oh no, this is the one. I mean, just like even to this day, there's people that adore Smash Melee. Like, it's just what the community gravitates to, what they adore.
I will say, this is obviously old news. I think it happened like 2 or 3 years ago.
Mhm.
But since Sony did buy Evo, it is weird not seeing Smash Bros on here. I know it's been a couple years already that they haven't been on here, but that's also kind of Nintendo's fault because they kind of want to exclude
Yeah,
themselves from a lot of competition.
talk about really like that's the one that really gets me. Like for a lot of the things that I feel and I defend them, and that I feel like they do good, or I turn a blind eye against because they're Nintendo. That one, that one just makes no fucking sense to me, man.
And I don't want to give Smash Bros a lot of credit, but there was always three main games I would want to see during Evo. That was definitely Smash Bros. That was Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter. Those were obviously the top three main games that everybody wanted to see. But unfortunately, because Smash Bros. Did exclude themselves, when you look at the ratings, it didn't take a hit. It almost increased since they were removed. Because they added other games like was it King of Fighters or Guilty Gear? One of them got put into circulation, and obviously, since Smash Bros. Went out, Dragon Ball actually has risen. So
Mm,
it's like because that main fighting game was removed, other fighting games had a chance to shine.
mm-hmm.
So I thought that was very interesting, and I just love how these fighting game communities, even though it's the same game, they're fighting the same characters, whatever. They're so passionate that they can keep a single game alive for multiple years. Like I think Tekken 7, it's been in multiple tournaments. I think it's almost close to 9 years old at this point, and yet they
Mm,
still act like it's like the best game of their life. And to
yeah,
me, I think that's why I gravitate to these like fighting tournaments because when you see these players, they're just so passionate about their game that you will never see in any other video game ever.
yeah, yeah. Like I mean, even like I said, I've never sat and watched the whole tournament like you may do. But when the clips come out and you watch them, it's pretty exhilarating. Going
Yeah.
down to the commentary, to the reactions, and even me, I'm saying like, damn, his health was all the way full, and you just fucked up, man.
Yeah, like
You just
especially with
fucked up.
like a
You
Street
get
Fighter
give
clip.
him that one opening, and bam, yeah.
You see
It's
like
cool.
a perfect block combo from like 7 hits, and then they reverse
Mhm.
it from like 0 HP, and you're like, oh, what? That's
Speaking
crazy.
speaking of what I think would be interesting, and there's I know we kind of had a similar topic like once upon a time that's kind of similar to bring up, but I think even just having like a classic game type tournament where you know you have the old school, and I'm talking about like the Killer Instants of the world and stuff like that. I think that would be pretty cool, but it'll never happen. But
Retro Evo, where you just see all
yeah,
the old.
there you go, Retro Evo. Yeah, that'd be dope.
But yeah, I think it's really cool that like I do criticize Sony quite a bit recently, but I do think I do think it's really cool that they really are trying to promote this competition to the highest level by integrating with their system, doing these weekend tournaments, to giving a lot of new players a chance to shine. And I think that's really
so
cool.
So with that, because when you kind of opened with this topic, I didn't want to, even though I do tend to interrupt you every now and then, but what I wanted to ask, because you mentioned how they'll do these tournaments to have like play-in tournaments or whatever, or to further rankings or what have you. A lot of these games, well, not dare I say a lot of these games, some of these games are also multi-platform, right? So it's like are Xbox players are the rankings shared? Are these the type of games that share online leaderboards? Do you know?
I don't know if it's a share like all across all platforms, if it's
Uh
just
huh.
like a system leaderboard. I
Uh
do
huh.
not know that.
Okay, because hypothetically, so I guess I get my question out. If they're not shared, then that excludes all Microsoft players for that one, right?
Well, so yeah, that's the whole point is that
So that's
because Sony does own it, um, obviously these games are multi-platform. They probably have some like local regional tournaments, but like the bit like if you really want to become known for a fighting player, you got to go PlayStation. It's the only
wow.
way.
So that's their way of trying to corner a particular market.
Yeah, like if you ever want to participate in Evo and all that stuff, it's always gonna be played on PlayStation. That's just how it is.
Interesting. Interesting.
Yeah, but that's just how sponsorship and ownership works. If you buy it and you want to make your competition, you want to play at the highest level, you got to play on the specific thing they require you to play on. And, Xbox does it too. Like, I'm not saying this is like an only Sony exclusive. Like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Microsoft has done it with many games. They did with Call of Duty when they owned their contract before.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like a new concept that Sony is doing. It's been
Mm-hmm.
around for a while. But yeah, if you want to do any of these Evo games,
Like
it's
Smash Brothers, here's your PlayStation controller.
yeah. So if you want to be a part of any of these tournaments that are listed for Evo, you have to be on PlayStation to participate.
Okay, interesting. Do you know which? Out of curiosity, do you know which Guilty Gear it is? Is it the latest one or is it an older version? I don't. And
Uh,
if you tell me, I probably don't know which version it was. But I just know like, an old neighborhood friend. He's really into Guilty Gear, and he was streaming for a while.
so
Um,
according to this, it's Guilty Gear Strive.
yeah, I don't know if that's newer or not, but
And they also have another
he
one called Melty Blood, but I've never heard of that fighting game before.
yeah, I would have to dig deep. But I remember whatever their latest incarnation was, he was streaming it, and I was watching them, and I was like, man, like I've never paid attention to Guilty Gear series. Like I obviously know of it, but it looked sweet. Like it looked really nice.
I actually haven't played a single Guilty Gear game or King of Fighters, whatever. I just see Maximilian dude play King of Fighters, and it they look because they're so similar to like Street Fighter in a way, like the classic 2D fighter. I almost want to get into those games, but the only thing that sucks is that I want to have somebody of my equal level playing with me so I could practice with them and then start versing online people.
Mm-hmm.
But also at the same time, I don't want to waste time because obviously it's more of like a recreational kind of like fun competition. But I know that there's a lot of passionate people that play this that if you come in new, they're just gonna demolish you and they will not show you any mercy at all. Like that,
Mm-hmm.
like whenever I play Tekken or Mortal Kombat, whenever I go into an online match, I already know I'm gonna lose because of how good these players are. Like when,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, these players are night and day. Like if you're new, you're gonna expect to get demolished. You're not gonna have an easy time.
Mm-hmm. So like with that said, because I haven't gone hell. I think the last fighting game that I actually went online with, which is probably not the best comparison to make, was Smash Brothers. And their ranking, they would try to pit you against someone that was close to your rank. doesn't that exist with all the other fighting games, or is it just
Uh,
pure randomization?
so
They have to have. I mean, they obviously have leaderboards. So, like the matchmaking system, are you kind of suggesting they're still, or they are broken a little bit?
so I can't speak for all the games. I know Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat has a ranked version, or at least Mortal Kombat definitely does.
Mm-hmm.
But even that's a little touchy because even the novice versions of a lot of those new players are still a lot better than your average player. So even if you go in there, you're still most likely going to get your butt handed to you.
But at the same time, that's like that really is though the only way you learn, right? I mean, we kind of had that conversation too, talking
Child
about
by fire,
sports and
just go
stuff.
to the pit, good suffer.
Yeah, I mean, you're going in and you're like double flawless victory. I mean, you're really not learning anything at that point. You're just a you know upside down hanging piece of meat. But
It's funny because recently I actually played Mortal Kombat 11 again on PS5 because, like I said, just because of Evo, I'm just getting hyped to playing more fighting games.
mhm,
I decided to play online and I played as Cassie Cage, which is Johnny Cage's daughter,
mm,
and I got first against Aaron Black. I think that's who it was. Dude, I got juggled so badly. It wasn't even funny. Like both lives were basically done like 15 seconds. I was like, dude,
mm.
I feel so bad.
And then that could be very deflating.
But it's like it makes you want to get better, but you know that if you want to at least show some progress, you got to put a lot of time and effort to get into it because
uh-huh.
it's not one of those games where you can just jump in and learn quickly. You actually have to learn combos, the
Hmm.
what
I
you call it,
mean,
well timing, but because the
how to get out of certain juggles, how to counter certain
well,
juggles.
yeah, but like the button combos,
Hmm.
it's not like just simple one up down
Yeah,
circle square. It's a lot of different combos, and dude,
yeah.
the memorization of that is just insane.
Hmm.
But I guess
Yeah.
that's why they have the training room so you can practice those
I was
combos.
actually just going to make that comment. I mean, that's why every single fighting game has a training thing, and I guess the good players spend more of their time in there instead of max level difficulty arcade mode.
Yeah.
Because and that's the thing, because you're playing to learn other people's tendencies, even though you may never really meet them or whatever. But when you play a computer, eventually,
You understand their pattern.
exactly.
And then when
Versus with player, it's not like that.
yeah, like I was saying, there's like the fighter or sorry, the player that I follow, Sonic Fox. I'm not sure if you heard of him. He's an extremely popular fight. I keep calling him fighter. I don't know why I want to call him a fighter, but a popular player. Like he has been like top ranked in Mortal Kombat for a long time. Same thing with Smash Bros. Dude, his memorization of combos and people in and other people's combos and finding their little breaks to attack them is just insane, man. And he's been on top of the game for such a long time, and I think that's why he's my favorite player, just because he sees tendencies so quickly and he sees that little gap that allows him to have an opening to strike, and he's a really fun player to watch. I didn't say fire that time. I made sure really hard not to say fighter.
Hey, even if you did keep calling him a fighter, who cares? I mean, in some capacity, it works. So, um, yeah, we'll see where this goes. I think it's like I said, I'm not going to watch it to the capacity you do, but it's always cool seeing the moments that come out of it, for
Mhm.
sure. And there always will be moments.
It's kind of funny that this is more of a personal thing, but like whenever I watch Evo, I treat it like a UFC fight.
Mm.
Like I watch it with wings, and then like I get like as hyped as I'm watching like an actual like cage fight happening. I know it's all virtual, but for some reason the energetic feeling I get is just
It's competition.
yeah.
It is what it is. It's competition. That's what you're viewing. Doesn't matter what the dare I say entertainment part of it, but it's all competition.
So
You're
going
watching the best going against the best.
yeah, so going back to the later part, what I said is,
Mhm.
people are making a lot of predictions. Like I said, Tekken 8 seems to be like the biggest, like almost confirmed um,
Mhm.
reveal that's going to happen there.
Was
Do you,
kept secret.
do you think that there's going to be more? Like, obviously, there's been a lot of speculation for Mortal Kombat just because of how much Ed Boon's talking. Um,
Yeah, I think. I mean, I brought up the MK1 a podcast or three ago, and you were more um, gravitating towards what was it called? The
Shaolin
other one.
monks.
No, the DC one.
Oh, Injustice.
Injustice. Thank you. You were more gravitating to that than Mortal Kombat. I'm like, no, I think it's gonna be Mortal Kombat. So I think I'm gonna ride that one out. I'm trying to think, could there be any like super secret type of game? I brought up Soul Calibur. I don't think we've had a Soul Calibur in a fair minute either.
Actually, that's a good point because there's always Soul Calibur every generation, and we've had one for
Yeah,
PS4, which I think was like 6 or 7, and it's about that time for us to get another one. So
yeah.
it very much could be because
Oh,
like I think
so,
that's why I brought this up is that there's a lot of speculations of so many reveals,
hmm
and I didn't even think
I,
Soul Calibur was one of them.
I highly doubt that would be a platform to announce like a new IP for a fighting game. It
Oh,
would be
it'll
kind
be
of
the
really
best platform, the biggest fighting
well.
tournament in the world. It'd be the best way to reveal a fighting game. It's like basically the Game Awards for fighting games.
I guess if you're confident that it's going to be successful, yes. But like if it's a Sony made one, yes, you'll see it there. But I'm saying like if it was like from another company not under the Sony umbrella or something, like you probably wouldn't see it. Is kind of where I'm going with it.
Well, Capcom isn't by Sony, and they had a reveal for Street Fighter 6 last Evo.
Yeah, but that's Street Fighter. They're already made. I'm talking about new
Well,
IP.
Soul Calibur is a pretty prominent name in the fighting.
It is,
So,
but that's why I'm not mentioning Soul Calibur. I'm
oh,
saying
I thought you were
like
saying Soul Calibur. My bad.
well, I did before, but I'm talking about fresh IP, brand new characters,
I
new
got you. That's where
everything.
my
You know,
confusion
that's what I'm
was.
talking about. I'm talking about brand fucking spanking new IP. That I don't see it unless it's like I said, unless it's made by Sony. That would create some news for sure. But outside the notorious ones, I think those are really your only options. Really,
So,
MK, Soul Calibur, Tekken. What else you got?
I mean, they got other games, but I the only ones I've seen like on the social media radar is just Dragon Ball. Like well, obviously I already mentioned Tekken. Like I said, it's almost pretty much confirmed. But it seems like I said, Mortal Kombat and Dragon Ball seem to be the biggest talks. I haven't seen anything about Soul Calibur, but it would be really cool to see a Soul Calibur game.
I mean, it would be, uh, yeah, it'd probably make a bigger, dare I say, make a bigger splash. But since there hasn't been any rumblings, right, like the other
Mm.
ones, that would be way out of left field. Be like, oh my god, didn't expect that one. And the cool thing about Soul Calibur is because they generally do multi-platform, and like how we talked about in the past, like certain platforms will get unique characters.
And in a way, it's a substitute for Smash Bros. Because Soul Calibur is a compilation, if you want to use the word, of
mhm,
many different characters into one game.
mhm, yeah. So yeah, we'll see.
I would like to say if we do see a new Soul Calibur game, and because it is sponsored by Sony, I would love to see Kratos back in a Soul Calibur game. Because I know
Yeah.
that was like a thing with Soul Calibur is that if you played on like 360 or PlayStation, you have a very specific character thing. Like I think 360 had like Yoda or something like that, and then PS3 had like Kratos. I'd love to see what the difference would be on this new one.
Yeah, that'd be well. Time will tell. Time will tell.
Dude, just seeing like this lineup, seeing a lot of people talk about it, dude, I almost want to do like a watch party. I think that's what I may do on Twitch, is that when
Oh,
this happens, because I know you can actually co-cast or co-stream
yes.
a lot of these
Mm-hmm.
things. So
Mm-hmm.
maybe for the whole tournament, I comment, break it down. If you want to join me, you're more
Yeah.
than welcome to. But it'd just be fun to like talk about this because I do kind of want to. Like I said, I'm not really familiar with King of Fighters or Guilty Gear, but
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people seem to love it. I'd love to understand the series and kind of get more into
Mm-hmm.
that as well. Who knows? Maybe I might play games and try to participate in like these weekend tournaments and get demolished.
There you go. Yeah, that'd be cool. Do a co-cast. Yeah.
But is there anything else you want to talk about? Do you have any other speculations? Is there any tournaments that you would love to see? Because obviously, like I said, Evo's one of the ones I'd love to see. Is there any tournaments you would love to see besides Smash? Well, I mean, you could talk about Smash.
No, I think I kind of gave my uh dare I say dark horse with the retro Evo. I think that'd be, but I know that's like a niche thing, and I don't know, probably won't be as popular. We had that conversation before, but I definitely have admiration for the old school ones, and
I don't know if
you
they
know,
do it
it
at
does.
Evo, but so there is a fighting game tournament. It might actually be Evo, but they will never show it on like main stage. But
Hmm.
they actually have a whole bunch of like those like obscure or like retro fighting games that people still actually hold competitions for. They're just not really well viewed, I guess.
Not
But
sponsored.
yeah, but there's still like a prize pool of like maybe like $100 or whatever. They keep it small. There's people that still dedicate themselves to that game. But it would be cool to see that small niche section get a little bit of a spotlight treatment. Because
Hmm.
I know they actually do it at these tournaments. I don't know which one
Do
it
they
is.
do they have? It's not a fighting game, but it would be um, pretty good competition. Does Tetris have anything like this? I
They
mean,
don't.
you're not gonna have a whole thing of this magnitude just for that one game, but like just kind of think like there's not a lot of different puzzle games out there, unfortunately, because puzzle games are pretty fucking cool. But now that they have that, like Tetris versus,
Oh,
and they have
Tetris
the
99.
yeah, Tetris 99, or there's different variations, but basically you can actually get people to compete against each other, which is what that genre of gaming needed to actually still succeed.
So
Like why not?
So unfortunately, this is a Nintendo issue. So Tetris
Oh.
99 actually did have a competition that the community kind of devised up because they wanted to do it. But after like two showings, Nintendo kind of shut them down because it's not an official Nintendo tournament.
Hmm.
And because Tetris is partnered with Nintendo and you can only play Tetris from Nintendo, that's why they cut them out.
Isn't Tetris on Steam too?
Tetris 99 is not on Steam. It's only
Not
Nintendo.
99, but there's different versions of Tetris that play like Tetris 99.
Yeah, but because they're not I see. This is a question I wish we could talk to our friend IVX Ninja Chris because
Hmm.
I know he plays on stream sometimes,
Yes,
but I think because of how do you say it, by it not being like an official version of it, that's why they
gotcha.
can't do it because Nintendo still kind of owns. Even though Tetris and Nintendo are partner companies, they still kind of own the competitive rights to it.
Rights to it. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Well, that's a shame.
So it's a Nintendo
That would
issue of
be
them blocking themselves from competition, which they have the games. They
right,
should get like
right.
Pokemon Unite. That'd be another cool mobile game. Like Smite has something like that. Why
Yeah,
can't Pokemon Unite do something too? Like Nintendo, stop being. I mean, like some things you do right, but stop being so strict on these things.
yeah. I think they're. I think when it comes to, I mean, this is gonna sound like a defense for them, but like I guess part of their model is they don't care about the competition aspect of what they're doing. I mean, clearly, obviously, right?
And it's
But
stupid
like,
because one of their biggest
but
games,
no,
Smash
I
Bros,
agree.
is all about competition.
I agree. I agree. But like, I mean, their history, showcases it. They don't care about the competition aspect of their gaming.
It,
I
it,
agree. I'm not disagreeing with you.
it's kind of weird that because you are right, but it's also weird that they're doing this because they also promote Splatoon as a competition game, but yet they still don't run tournaments for it. It's like why promote it as like a PvP, cooperative or not cooperative, competitive tournament game, but then not have any tournaments. It's like that's weird advertising.
I think like, dare I say it, but I kind of think it's just them being lazy.
I think so too because I think they actually still own the rights to what's it called, Nintendo World Cup or World Tour. I think that's what they had before. It was like
I
an
mean,
old
just think of
'90s tournament, but they could bring that back and just make it those Tetris 99, Pokemon Unite, Smash Bros, Splatoon 3,
Mario Kart.
Mario Kart. Yeah, because they're always pushing that the online like closed circuit, whatever it's called. So I mean,
I
like,
think it's called. I think now it's called like Mario Kart Infinity or something. But yeah, I mean,
don't they
uh,
call them like circuit cups? They have like a specific names for those online tournaments.
oh, that I don't know. I'm sorry, I don't know about that. But uh, yeah, I mean, I think it's just kind of laziness, or it's just not in their business model, which I think is a shame because they obviously can make money off of it. Not only do you have to, create a pot, but that's to them just peanuts.
Because like
Um,
there was actually third party people trying to help them out. The what was it? The Fighting GG, whatever it's called. And they were like a
Sounds familiar.
Well, it should sound familiar because we actually went to their tournament.
Oh, that one.
Was
Yeah. Okay. That's why I was like, duh.
they actually made a lot of like local tournaments around the world,
Mhm.
and they were trying to help Nintendo out, and Nintendo said, "Nah, we don't like you guys. We're moving on." And I'm like, "What?" They basically gave you all the profits. They're doing it for free. They gave you the chance.
Yeah, yeah, that's the things like when you talk about fantasizing, like, oh, if I could only ask them this, that would probably be up there. Like, why?
Yeah.
Like, give me the business answer as to why not doing this is a beneficial to your company.
Thank God Pokemon is independent because if we
Oh, well, but Pokemon would be another one. Well, actually, Pokemon does do it because
well
of
the Pokemon
game.
World Cup.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Thank
I don't
God
know.
Pokemon is
Yeah, they do
independent
have money.
because they sponsor their own tournaments because
Yeah.
Nintendo won't do it.
Yeah.
Like they have the TCG, they have the video game, they have
Yeah.
Pokemon Go. There's another
And,
Pokemon.
and, and to that point, now remove that component. Would Pokemon be as successful without that component?
No, not at all.
Exactly.
TCG would fail miserably because let's be honest, Pokemon World Cup, TCG is skyrocketed because of them constantly promoting that, and it's almost one of their most viewed things besides
I,
the Pokemon game tournaments.
I'll slightly disagree with you with TCG only because of the collector's aspect component of it.
But the collector's aspect just kicked off. Well, I mean, obviously it's always been a thing for a long
No,
time,
it's
but it
always been a thing.
skyrocketed because of 2020 COVID and all that stuff. But because of TCG making the competitive players out there and then bringing it to the collector's eyes, I mean that tournament is really what helps them skyrocket originally.
I'll still disagree with you, but
They're gonna give it
I,
to Logan
I have to,
Paul.
I have to do it once per podcast. I'm going to disagree.
All right, that's
I'm
fine.
contractually obligated to disagree with you once per podcast at this point.
But viewership wise, TCG is the second most viewed tournament in the Pokemon Cup, or whatever they're called. I forgot what their actual tournament is, but they host it
Yeah.
every year. They host all their
Yeah.
stuff,
Yeah, and it's a big thing.
and Nintendo has nothing to do with that tournament at all. It's the whole
Thank God.
Pokemon company that is
Yeah.
running it.
Thank God. But that would be something I'd love to ask. Like, how? Explain to me, please, how this not doing this is beneficial to your company. Go.
Yeah, like
And I would love to be floored with an answer that makes me go,
oh, Steve-san, we not like competition.
so
We
yeah,
lose Smash Bro. America can have this.
yeah, right. That's what it boils down to.
We don't lose again to America.
Yeah. So, well, that's all I have, I guess, on the topic today.
Kill yourself. All right, moving on to topic number 3. So this one, so I know we've mentioned that we would not talk about Zelda, but for some reason they just keep announcing more and more things. So recently, Zelda 2. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead. Go finish.
So recently, Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. This, I believe, it was this week, like a couple days ago. They had another exclusive was not direct, but like gameplay reveals, like 24 minutes. They're showing more in depth of the gameplay, the abilities, the weapon wheel, and all that stuff. Things that we didn't see in the Nintendo Direct.
Mm-hmm.
And I can say that the choices they made to make an ability wheel instead of making it to the D-pad is a very smart move because it makes it easier to rotate around.
So now we're officially at the point where I am purposely not watching any more content, and I want to now experience it vanilla. So whatever you have mentioned is pure another language to me. But to your point, this week the big wigs of the industry were given, I guess technically they're given the full game to play for.
I don't think they were given the full game. I think they were all given 24 or 30 minets of something, and
I think they're given 30 minutes
that.
of the full game, and the reason being is because I was reading tweets of people saying, "Hey guys out there that we're concerned there will be no dungeons." I think there are dungeons because I was playing and Nintendo told me, "Nope, you have to go back and turn around." You have to go the other way.
Well,
So
it's kind
that's why I think they were granted full copies.
okay, because it seems like their dungeons aren't really dungeons. They're more so from my what I've watched, because I watched
Hmm.
a couple things, but they all seem to share the same gameplay. Maybe they're just limited to like a certain area. But I watched
Probably.
a guy called Austin John Plays. I obviously, as much as I criticize and make fun of IGN, Kotaku, and all them stuff, they had reviews too. They
Yep.
all share the same thing. They're basically going through forts. That I'm gonna consider like the new dungeon where you go in. There's always gonna be like new creatures to fight. Then with
Hmm.
those creatures, you get materials to bring back to like a building base, so you can build whatever you need, like a raft, a boat, whatever. And you
Hmm.
also got the Zoni, which is like I guess the Guardians,
The Zonite, yeah.
Zonai, which are the Guardians. You get components, and then with those components, you can upgrade Link's battery capacity, which I think he's started off with 4, but you can max it to like 6 or 8 or whatever,
Okay, cool.
and then
So it's
build
kind of
upon
like
that.
another like it would probably be like another stamina gauge. I'm sorry, probably
Yeah, and it like
function like that.
I know when we seen like in the direct, they only showed like 1 or 2 batteries, but supposedly you could stack the batteries up to like 8, at least from what we've seen so far.
Oh,
Um,
interesting.
and then same thing with like the ability. Like to me, this is the biggest thing which I love is
Hmm.
that they
Hmm.
have I can't remember what the ability's name is, but basically the ability to like disattach an item and make it like independent, so you can put in like a pile, or you can attach it to like a weapon or craft it. They add that to the weapon wheel. They also still have bombs. Bombs are changed though. It's not like how you cast them in Breath of the Wild where you just throw them out. I think it's something else now. They still have stasis. They still have magnetic. They also have whatever that ability is where you can like shoot through the ceiling. That's on the wheel. And there's also like 2 other spots that were left blank. But
Like,
supposedly a lot of these abilities they showed in the game, but you actually won't get right away. You have to unlock them later through like
okay.
forts or dungeons.
Hmm.
Well, I thought it was cool what they're showing.
Yeah, the only new info I saw through a feed was the linking of arrows and meat
Oh yeah.
and how you could use it to distract an enemy. So yeah, they really went where I mean, I'm sure there's still probably gonna be something you can't really combine, but for the most part, it seems to be completely creative control, which is just still to me quite mind blowing. And
Well, not
I,
only the creative freedom to build, but it seems like they've thought enough where each of these, like, let's say, custom items you build has an
mhm,
actual effect to play on the enemies. Like the meat, you hit them, it doesn't just hit them with meat. For some reason, because maybe you hit them with meat, it attracts another enemy towards that enemy, and they fight each other.
mhm. Yeah, I mean, those are like, well, I'm trying to think. In Breath of the Wild, did they have? I think they were able to hit each other. Like they had enemy, um, you know, could hit each other. Now, whether they did it purposefully or with a reason, I'm trying to remember if that existed. But in the trailer, well, it was with the Zonai, which kind of made sense. And me and my buddy, we have theories about the Zonai. But to see like two Moblins go at it, right? For example, like that would be very interesting. And it makes sense. Like those are cool elements, right? It's like they're almost like, dare I say, logical elements. It's like, yeah, they're all bad guys, but like they could fight each other too. Like they could get pissed off at each other, you know. So yeah, those are the things I love um, in this game, and it'll be interesting to see what other cool, dare I say, real world type mechanics are involved.
Yeah, I feel like I mean, obviously, there's still a lot of buzz around this game, but I feel like people are not giving this creative system as much hype as it deserves because, like, the fact that you have this huge open sandbox that you can create to basically play any way you want. You can either play extremely tactical, or sorry, when I say tactical, I'm talking about stealth tactical, where you're not even taking on the enemies yourself. You're letting them take each other on by letting them fight with traps. Or you could do a lot of CCing, which is crowd control, and
Mm-hmm.
putting certain groups or lay traps. Or you could just go on full on berserk mode and go in there and attack. So like the fact that they just with this creative freedom allowed so many different playstyles to exist because of that is
Mm-hmm.
insane to me. I don't think I've ever seen any game. Well, maybe Minecraft, but I don't think I've ever seen any game utilize crafting in a way to change your gameplay option.
Yeah, I think that is. I don't want dare I say the word monumental. It's not monumental, but it really is a breath of fresh air, if I may say it that way. It's so cool to do that, to just be able to be like, I think I'm gonna do this for this little encampment, or you know, it's just so cool. I can't wait. I just cannot wait.
Yeah, because
It's
like clearly there's other games that allow you to do these kind of things. Like Cyberpunk, for example, they allow you to build yourself
mhm.
into like either stealth, whatever. But with Zelda, you don't have to put yourself into a particular build. You just craft it on the spot.
Well, I don't want to say argue that what you just said. I mean, you still do have to be stealthy, right? Like you have to like there's the sound wave, right? Like so you still got to kind of like tiptoe a little bit, right? Because
Hmm.
you get too close, they're gonna hear you, and then now you threw yourself off, and they're all gonna swarm at you. So there is still a stealthy aspect to it, which is good though, right? You don't want it to be like, oh, I'm gonna run up behind these guys and they don't hear a damn thing. No, like you want that component, or at least I want that component. So like there still is like that very strategic aspect to it where you may have to tiptoe or what have you. Um,
One thing I am curious about, and I don't think they showed in any gameplay, and I don't think they're going to show anything more because we're 2 weeks out from release. So I
yep,
think this final reveal was the last one, in my
yeah.
opinion. But I wonder if you can customize more than just your weapons and your vehicles. Because
Hmm.
I'd love to be able to put like meat like patties on Link's feet. All you hear is flop 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 flop.
That's a great question. We don't know. Will they go that far? Ew.
Because we know that
I'm
there's
gonna
gonna
probably say
be
no. I'll probably say
gear.
no. Yeah, well, to that, I was gonna also make that point because, like the first one, yes, they will have the gear. You'll be able to change the dye of the gear, which is also very cool. Uh, I don't even get that in World of Warcraft. So yeah, I think that's really cool.
Because like imagine
I
being able to like embed some kind of like meat or it doesn't. I'm just using food as an example, but like let's say
Yeah,
you
yeah.
pick a piece of gear, you're able to combine it with a certain thing to have the status effect of pulling aggro. Like let's say because you have this on you, it tracks all the moblins in your area, and they just all swarm you instead of being like in the corners or whatever.
What I could see happening, you may not see it as a visual component, but maybe they'll have some sort of fusing to your point, where depending on what you fuse it with, it'll latently create that effect,
Like
right?
if a mob, like you put a snowball on your vest, if a moblin hits, you'll freeze them for a little bit.
Oh yeah. Well, that's what the ice arrows are for, right? But
But
here
I'm just saying,
we're
like
talking.
as a
I know what you're talking
defensive.
about from a different. Well, to assist with that, did they not show that with the shield? I thought they did,
But a shield would be still as I mean, as much as people don't want to classify as a weapon, it's still kind of like a weapon.
but it's defense purposes.
Yeah, but I'm saying like actual like physical gear you wear, not like a shield and a mace or stick.
No, I'm still fine. I was just trying to, defend it a little bit, pun intended. Yeah, I don't think so. I think that's probably where a line is drawn. But where, like I said, I could see it in maybe in some sort of fusing approach, but not like, oh, I'm gonna put you know, the blue jelly on my head and they hit me and they're gonna be slowed. I mean, yeah, I don't see that unfortunately.
Obviously, it'd be like a one-time thing. Like once it's gone, you gotta just infuse it again, like a refusing
No,
aspect.
no, yeah, for sure. I mean, I get the approach. I think the line will be drawn with that. I don't think we'll
But
see
to me,
that.
that'd be like
But it'll be
true
interesting.
custom freedom right there. Is like let's say not only just the weapons you can craft with status effects, but the gear itself. And like let's say you get hit by a boss, and you're like, okay, well you're at 1 health. You get out of jail free card is that snowball that they hit, and it not freezes them intact for like a second, just so you can get out.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's where, like I said, I think that's where unfortunately it still comes into play with your offense tactics with that type of creativity. I think that like going back to just the creativity aspect, like for me, and I mentioned this on the last pod, is I can't wait to see what people come up with their creations, and I'm gonna probably steal a bunch of them because I lack a little creativity. But like no, I think it's just gonna be so fun to build certain things and try to do like big old rock'em sock'em robot type things and just like I just yeah, it's gonna be fun. It's going to be fun. I just hope like I guess one of my fears with the creativity is at some point there probably has to be a how can I put it like a maximum allotment of what you could fuse together, I guess, or use the green sticky glue like there has to be a max, right? Like it's not like you could construct maybe even your own building per se. Like I don't know. I guess time we'll find out, but
Well, I have a feeling that you can do it. The only problem is that if once you
it
build
won't
it,
be functional.
that too, but also because of the durability aspect, you're gonna waste a lot of materials for something that's probably not gonna be that practical. And once it's gone, you lose all that stuff.
Yeah. See now that's something that just dawned on me right now, right? Like whatever you build, like I did mention this. Like hopefully they have like presets or something where it's like, or are you forced to build it back from scratch every single time?
Yeah, like have like at least like four favorites where you're like, okay, I like this
Yeah.
build, save it, and it just
Hmm.
automatically recrafts once you have the
Yeah.
materials.
Yeah. But like, because that would be that'd be really shitty. Like I really want to know how that mechanic works. Like let's go back into dungeons, right? Usually a dungeon you're going to load or phase into it, right? So hypothetically you create something you're so proud of, right? And then you show up at a dungeon, you have to get off of it, go do your thing. You come out, is it still going to be there? Is it gone? Did it evaporate? I think with the way they've been building it, he'll probably still be there. Makes me wonder.
Yeah.
Or could the bad guy steal components while it's away?
So did they actually show dungeons in there? Because the only thing I seen were the forts.
Uh, no, and I think that's why I guess the community's still at ease, but based on the recent plays, it's still not confirmed, but they're kind of insinuating like, yeah, we're pretty sure there are actual dungeons like traditional Zelda games have, because while they were playing, Nintendo explicitly told them, no, stop, you can't go there, or you can't go in there. So they're like, why not? And they think it's probably because they're actual dungeons.
That's where Ganon is. He's taking a shower.
Yeah. That's where the 7 minute speed run comes from. You can't go in there.
So, so besides the gameplay, and like I said, it was
Mm-hmm.
the only snippets I seen were 24 minutes, and it seems like almost everybody I seen kind of share like the same kind of gameplay aspect.
Mm-hmm.
So if there's anything you want to add to that, feel free. But story wise, I kind of want to discuss this because I'm very confused because like I said, I didn't beat Breath of the Wild. I'm still going through it. Ganon doesn't take a physical form in the Breath of the Wild, does he? He was just the Calamity
No,
Malice version.
correct.
So
So
does that mean that the character Astra returns and helps Ganon get his physical thing, or are we actually going to see the birth of Ganon through the Garud?
no, who was the person you just mentioned? I'm sorry.
Astra, he's like the dark prophet or whatever, prophet of calamity. He's the guy in Age of
Um,
Calamity that
oh,
basically
he was the one
started
that
the
was an age,
events.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he wasn't in Breath of the Wild, so that's a good question.
And in Age of Calamity, they basically say he's like the main orchestrator of the whole event by, using the Dark Guardian to
Yeah.
bring, he used the Yiga clan to bring back Ganon. And
Hmm.
then he kind of got destroyed by Ganon, but who knows? Maybe that's how Ganon gets his physical embodiment is by through that possession of malice.
The last soul he needed. Uh, yeah, I think. Well, once again, everything is pure speculation, right? Storyline wise, I don't know what to expect. I don't know how they're going to tell that story, right? Uh, Me and my buddy Rob, we've had a go at this a few times, and going back to physical embodiments and whatnot. Did you play Skyward Sword?
A long, long time
Okay,
ago.
and that's fine. So like that's the first chapter of all timelines, right? So I don't think anybody has. I haven't sat down and watched a lot of different like trailer breakdowns, like a lot of the like a lot of people do. They'll sit there and turn that 3 minute trailer into like an hour long video because they overanalyze it. It's fun to watch, but I haven't sit here and watched many of them. What my eyes are showing me, or I'm thinking, or possibly telling me is, I'm thinking, um, I felt like in the trailer they showed Ganondorf's, how could I put it, like the original Ganon, who is Demise from Skyward Sword. I believe they showed him in the trailer, but I haven't seen anybody else agree with my eyes. So I feel like Demise is going to make a return. I think the other girl that they show in the trailer that people were thinking is Zelda is not Zelda. I think that's the actual physical embodiment of probably Hylia. And what begs the question is, okay, so you have Hylia and Zelda who are always linked together, and they usually always have the Triforce of Wisdom. Then you have Ganondorf and Demise, who's the OG, linked together with the Triforce of Power. And then you have Link. And Link has never been linked with like a supreme being. So the idea my buddy had, and kind of starting to agree with him, and that other figure that they show in the trailer that kind of looks like somewhat of an animal or a fox, like maybe that's Link's supreme being, and
Well,
that.
so story wise, canonically, the reason why Link comes back with Ganon and Zelda is because when he fought them the first time in Skyward Sword, because he used a Master Sword, it basically absorbed his light and the dark and Demise at the same time. So
Mhm.
because he's the one that did the final blow, his essence was connected to that sword, and he's the light aspect compared to Demise's dark aspect. That's why he is forever intertwined in that tri reincarnation effect.
So with that said, right, if you see the sword, it's
The sword is
very.
basically Link. That's what it is.
No, 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 no. Well, there's, to your point, there's like, I don't want to say spirits, but there's beings in the sword. So with that said, like they show it very eroded,
You
which has
think
never
that
happened in the series.
Demise is going to be released from the sword because
Yes,
technically he
yes,
was captured with the sword?
yeah. So there's that adding to the theory, um, and maybe we finally get that like kind of supreme physical being of Link's aspect of that we've never had, and probably in the trailer maybe like it's related to the Zonai and whoever the leader of the Zonai. Like there's so much we just don't know, and I think that's what makes this so well, why I'm anticipating and see what story they tell. What do they want to tell? And hopefully it's good. I guess that's always the hope too. Hopefully it's good. Uh, and if this really is the end of all the chapters, like I think that's kind of cool too.
Yeah. I want to say that Hylia, that's the goddess's name, right?
Yeah.
She's stupid, man. She's the dumbest
Not.
goddess I've ever heard because supposedly the reason why the Triforce exists is because there's three other goddesses that basically imbued their powers into these three triangles and they
Mm-hmm,
ascended back into whatever heavens they came from.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
And Hylia stayed back. But because she's a goddess, she can only use one at a time. She can't use all three.
mm-hmm.
And because of that, she decides to nerf herself into a human form so she can use the Triforce as Zelda
As
herself.
needed.
Yeah. And obviously she screws up every single time. And I'm like, she could have kept Demise in place in the Master Sword if she never reincarnated the first time. If she stayed as the goddess and Demise was still locked away, if she didn't reincarnate, Demise would still be in lockup.
I don't know
Because the
about all that,
goddesses
but
came down, they kicked Demise's butt, they locked him away, and Heidi's like, oh, let me have the bright idea of bringing him back. So I can
I think
kill
that's
him.
it was more an inevitable thing, so it was more of a precaution to do it her way than not doing it that way.
And in doing it her way, classic syndrome
Because if she
of,
did, classic syndrome. Because if they didn't, then they would be royally fucked.
Well, they were because in her
Because then there was no
very
backup plan.
special needs
She
thought
created
process,
she created a backup plan as the main plan.
her backup plan was getting lucky that Link existed during that time to basically take out Demise and lock him away again, that the three goddesses did already. And because of Link accidentally stumbling upon this, because Hylia is someone that should never have any kind of power, that's where this reincarnation cycle began. And now Link has to suffer because of Hylia's stupidity.
Link has to suffer. Yeah, I think that it's I don't know where it's gonna go, and obviously everything is mere speculation. Um, I'm just really anxious to see what story they're gonna tell.
I
I
just want to see the
feel
three goddesses come back down. I
I
want the
would love to
Triforce to
see.
be like broken, and the goddesses just like, all right, we need to help.
Man, there's so many things that could happen that would be like fanfare. That would obviously be one of them. Uh, yeah, I mean, really, everything is open for possibilities. I think that this and this might be going a little off topic, but I think the intriguing thing to me is, and I hope it doesn't happen by the time it's released, but from my understanding, I don't think there's ever been an acknowledgement of how long the runtime is supposed to be or the average runtime. And I hope it stays that way until it's actually out. And I'm not talking about speed run runtime. I'm just talking about like actual playthrough. You experience all what you need to experience for story time. Uh, I'm really curious to know what that's going to be.
So one thing to go to the demise aspect and the
Mm-hmm,
revival of goddesses is
mm-hmm,
that when you see Ganon in the trailer,
mm-hmm.
you see a red sun. And I wonder
Oh,
if that red sun is actually Demise himself.
well, so that's where I kind of stopped it every like millisecond, and before they flat out show Ganon, I'm sorry, Ganondorf. There is a difference. That partial frame or half a second, quarter of a second, whatever it is before that reveal of Ganondorf, like to me it looks like, or it looks like to me, my friend, it looks like Demise. The hair is like super long and flowing, and the arms are full of like that, like kind of like almost like burnt skin
Mm.
that he kind of has, and like really like ribbed. So to me, it looked like Demise. Um, and then even you get the slight face turn, kind of really looked like him.
To me, I'm just picturing Ganon coming to that red sun where Demise locked up, and he's like, "All right, I gotta free my other half." He goes to that red sun. He breaks Demise out, basically being possessed by him, and that's where you get the long red fiery hair.
So the other theory is, see, the one thing for me that like I don't want to say I don't like, but that has me concerned is the dare I say the simplicity reveal of Ganondorf. Like I feel like that is something that probably should have been saved.
Oh, I don't think so.
So
I think that
so
hypes it up even
so
more.
so with that said, I wonder if they would do some sort of weird ass fucking swerve that Ganondorf maybe might not be bad.
That he's trying to
Demise,
end. That he's trying to end
Demise is still the ultimate.
this.
Demise is still the ultimate bad, but he has to be the one last tier of the kingdom to turn in order to finally seal Demise.
Yeah, like we're looking at him as a bad guy, but really he's been suffering the most because he has to carry the possession of Demise. And he's like, I just want to live, man. I want
Yeah,
to go back to my
like I gotta
Gerudo
go
women and
Gerudo
have fun.
Valley with women.
Yeah, I just want to go have fun. Don't make me go do this.
So that would be an interesting turn.
He's like, I'm trying to take this loincloth off and have some fun, man. Get this Demise wants me to destroy him. I ain't having that.
Like I need this kingdom. So
Yeah.
like that's another theory, which I think would be dare I say cool.
To me, what would be
Uh,
really cool is if you actually get to play as Ganon himself. Because like I think the original trailer, the very first one that came out multiple years, you see Ganon kind of waking up the same way Link woke up in the first game. Like he's laying down and you see him in like some kind of like weird stasis where he's just like laying down like a coffin kind of thing, and then he opens his
Hmm.
eyes,
Hmm.
and that's kind of the same way Link woke up.
Yeah, a little bit. I could see that. But yeah, that's those are really the big theories, I guess, I have for what it's worth. Other than that, I just can't wait to experience it and be surprised. And dare I say, hope I'm happy at the end.
So our final, this is a final speculation prediction that
Hmm.
I want to make is that
Hmm.
I'm kind of hoping, and this is going to sound weird because I know a lot of people still love this franchise,
Hmm.
because everybody else is passing the torches around from their franchise from one main character to another.
Hmm.
Is this time where we finally see Link and Zelda no longer be the main character? It's still going to be the Zelda franchise name, but as a new main character, Link is no longer that guy. This will be the one that finally releases them from their imprisonment, and their child basically takes over as kind of like a Castlevania Belmont kind of cycle.
No, I don't. That one I won't. I don't foresee. I don't think they've ever really kind of made them seem like a love interest with each other. Like they never really fully conveyed that at all. Not like Mario and Peach.
Mario and Peach were never a love interest. I'm just gonna be honest with you. But Zelda and Link more likely than not. Obviously, in Age of Calamity, there's other characters that are either Tim be with, like Mifa. I don't care if she's a Zora and she's a fish woman, but I want to see
It's
it.
it's it's fantasy, you know.
But
You can have it. I'll give it to you.
what was I gonna say? No, I could see it. But has there ever been any iteration of any video game where Link's talked?
No, like
Because
sit down. Yep, yep. I know. Like that. That's about it.
Because when I was playing Age of Calamity and then even through a little bit of Breath of the Wild, I thought it was hilarious that everybody had voice dialogue and
Hmm.
Link's over there going, huh, yeah, yeah, huh. And I'm like, words, buddy, words.
Yeah,
And he like
he's
you see him just turn around. Yeah.
yeah he's pretty mute. Uh, Yeah, and then kind of going back to the whole fear, like with the Mario Brothers movie, and Mario finally having a voice, so to speak. That's going to be a big one, if slash when any type of um, Zelda show or movie medium is made. That's going to be huge.
I just love
'Cause
the
never. He's always had someone else doing the talking for him. Like Ocarina of Time was Navy or Navi.
yeah.
Apologies on how it's pronounced.
I think
Call
it's
myself a
Navi.
Zelda fan. Yeah. Um, so yeah, it's just always been there's always been a talking piece.
I
And then
would
Breath of the Wild, it's clearly like Zelda. or,
I would
or Skyward Sword was the sword. So
I would love to see a final voice reveal and he talks like Yoda. Link I
oh
am.
god.
Master Sword I want.
Mhm.
Ganon is dead, yes.
um yeah, no, he's always had a talking piece. And then what was it? Twilight Princess was the what was the name of that character that was always riding him when he was a dog?
Oh no.
I want to say it started with the M too. I want to say not like because no, the Zora is Mifa, but I want to say Midna, I think was the name. MIDNA. I think that's what it was, Midna. I'm probably still wrong, but yep, always had a talking piece.
I just think whenever I like when I was playing through it again, I was just like, it almost takes me out of like the whole like cutscene, like where him just going, yeah, yeah.
Actually, I will withdraw that statement. The only time he's actually had a voice was from
The
the
anime,
cartoon.
yeah.
Yeah. We're like, well, excuse me, princess. Only time. Only time.
I just want to know who gave the idea of just yeah, oh yeah, yeah, like that's all the
I
sounds
mean,
you get.
obviously the earlier games, none of them have voices. What was the first Zelda that did? Shit, I'm trying to think. Did even Skyward Sword didn't have voice acting? Was Breath of the Wild the first one?
Oh, I can't remember.
It might be. Might
But
have been.
when you see the cutscenes of everybody talking and you see Link do that, does it like throw you off a little bit? Like you're like, why? Just give him a voice. Everybody has a voice. Just give him something.
No,
He just has
I
the
think
stupidest expressions.
I think the only time it's weird or awkward is when they answer for him, right? Like that's where it's like what if that wasn't his answer? um, yeah, no, it's never bothered me. It's quite comical, I guess. Like if there's any comedic relief, that's probably where you get it from.
Because like one of my favorite scenes is it was after they meet Daruk, and he's eating like a molten lava thing, whatever. And then
Hmm.
you could tell Link doesn't like it, but then Daruk starts saying something, and then he was like, "This is how men do it," or whatever. And then all you see is Link take a bite, and he's like, "Mm-hmm."
I think it'd be funny if the only time he spoke is like he bit it, he threw it off. This is shit. Like he only swears. When he speaks, it's all you. And he said, it's like Jay and Silent Bob. Like you're never gonna hear him talk, and then the one time you finally do is gonna be like the greatest dialogue ever.
But yeah,
So
I just thought it was interesting, and if there's any shock for Tears of the Kingdom, it'd be Link dialogue.
Link's one liner. Hey, why not? Let's
At
do
the end
it.
of the game, he's like, "Enough is enough. The cycle needs to end.
You know what?
I'm tired, princess."
Yeah, let's that would be a good one. Let's get it done. His very first. Let's give him a voice, even if it's one line.
No more.
Yeah, yeah.
No
No mas.
mas.
He talks in Spanish. No mas. What the fuck?
¿Dónde está tu
Yeah.
biblioteca?
You mean the Switch? Yeah. No, that I wouldn't be against that. It would be that would you want a talking point. There you go. That's a talking point. That would be a talking point for sure.
Link is Link is all
Link
Spanish.
finally speaks. That's
Uh,
like what was that? Now I'm going back to Pokemon. Wasn't there an episode probably like a year or two ago where something happened where Pikachu finally talked?
oh yeah,
And he told like Ash she loved him or something.
yeah, it was that stupid remake of the first movie, the
Was it?
Pokemon,
Oh, that's right. That's where it was from. Yeah,
and everybody's like, "What?
yeah, yeah,
Pikachu
yeah,
is a girl now?" It's like the
yeah,
tail
yeah,
doesn't match. No.
yeah. The tail is missed. Yeah,
I love you.
yeah.
Well,
That's what it'll be like.
what's it called? Pokemon I Choose You. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
That
choose you.
movie was such a horrible remake. Somebody should get shot for that one. In
Yeah, it
game.
was. Yeah. But anyways, that wasn't the topic. Uh, yeah, like bring it all on. Bring it all on. That's all I gotta say. Ball to the wall. Let's go.
But yeah, is there any more you want to add to the gameplay? Because, like I
I
said,
guess
I was just really interested in the
what one more thing,
dialogue.
and because I think in our chat you brought this up that you had a concern, uh, that you hope. Well, I hope it doesn't happen, but you were concerned that maybe all the footage, since you watched the online stuff, right, versus the trailer, because you were thinking that the trailer might have been ran on PC and 60 frames per second and all that stuff. So how did watching that review footage look to you as far as stability and stuff looked like?
So, for see, this one is something I would have to do more research on because I can't speak for the review footage. But
Okay.
if the people had a chance to play, I'd love to hear if they played on Switch because it
I
looked
think
just
it
like
was.
the direct one too. And
Mhm.
so for people that don't know what we're talking about, there's a lot of concerns that the or sorry, not Pokemon, Zelda Direct that came out recently, like a week or two ago, was
Mhm.
shot in 1080p, 60 FPS, and obviously Nintendo Switch doesn't run that. It doesn't have 60 FPS or 1080p. So they clearly shot it on PC, which a lot of video game companies do. It's just how they advertise. So a lot of reviewers were saying, "Oh, this is a little concerning because what is the actual gameplay like?" Because I think Breath of the Wild runs in like 720, 30, or a little lower than that. And
Mhm.
obviously, Tears of the Kingdom's a little bit larger than that, so it's probably going to run worse. So they're saying like 540p, 20 FPS. Um, but From what I've seen from the review gameplay, it looks like the exact same from I've seen from Pokemon, or why do I say Pokemon? Zelda Direct.
Well,
Uh,
the reason why you keep want to say Pokemon because we know how bad Scarlet and Violet was at the launch, and that's the comparison you're trying to make. That hopefully it doesn't play like that.
yeah. So, from what I've seen from the little preview that came out the other day, it looks good, but I also don't know if that's played on the Switch or if that's just a little gameplay they were given from like PC footage.
I think it has to be on the Switch.
Because
I
like
mean, why
this,
would you give reviewers something to play that's not on your system and play like here play this game on PC for us to? No, I don't think they would have done that.
well, I can't
And
speak for
if they did,
Nintendo
I think that would have been known by now.
unless they sign like an NDA. Because there's been
You're okay. You're right. You're
there's
right.
been multiple companies that do send out test builds of certain games that have
Mm-hmm.
a boost performance for reviewers that you
Mm-hmm.
do not get in the same build as the retail version.
Yeah.
But like I
Forgot
said,
about that.
I'm just speculating on this. I don't know
No,
if
no,
that's a
no.
fact or not.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, you totally got me with the NDA part. That's true. That could be a factor. Hopefully not.
Because like if you
Hopefully
watch
not.
the gameplay and when Link's running through the environment, it looks a little too smooth. Like Breath of the Wild is what I consider a peak optimization for Nintendo Switch, like as far as you can push it. And even Breath of the Wild doesn't run that smooth. And that's what kind of like, and like, is there like some kind of editing effect going on here? Like if you watch the grass move, you watch him run, it's too smooth to be shot on a Switch. And that's what I'm concerned. Like I have no problem playing 720p, 30 FPS, or whatever the quality of Breath of the Wild was. I can tolerate that. But
Mhm.
if they're, purposely uh, fixing the gameplay trailer to make it look like this beautiful, but you're not going to get, then you're going to get Scarlet and Violet. That's going to be an issue for me.
If it's as bad as Scarlet Violet, like even I'll say that would be issue. I don't think that is going to happen. I really don't think that's going to happen.
I hope not
This
either.
game this game's been delayed multiple times, I guess you could say. They're going to get it right.
I hope so. I think that's also another reason why I didn't want to bring it up because, like I said, this is just pure talks.
Yeah, no, but
Uh,
it's good to talk about.
but we'll see. I mean, it comes out in 2 weeks. If hopefully it's as good as these test builds that have come out. If not, it's gonna get hit pretty hard negatively from a lot of reviewers.
Yeah, no, it will get hit negatively. There's no uh, shadow of a doubt with that. I hope it's not the case.
But on the hopeful
I
side, if it does look that good in game, this will probably be the new standard for Switch games. I'm just gonna be honest with you. Like, it looks good and on YouTube. Obviously, it could be post rendering edits that make it look that good, but it looks smooth from the gameplay we've seen. So I'm hoping it's that way and not the opposite.
yeah, I think so. I think we're gonna get dare I say a really polished product.
Hopefully.
I think I mean, we kind of wished that upon Pokemon as well, and we didn't get it. But that's also Pokemon Company has Game Freak in them. So no, I think I mean, we always say Mario's Nintendo's baby, and it is, and rightfully so. But Zelda is right up there with it.
one
It's
th- one thing I did notice, and this is from all the reveals, and this is kind of like the presentation magic that they show, is whenever you
okay.
see building, have you noticed how specifically slow they are with putting things together, and how they don't want to put too many moving parts on it? Because I have a feeling that the reason why they don't put too many moving parts, like 3 fans, 4 fans, to make it move fast, is because that's where you'll start seeing the lag and jitter.
I haven't really paid close attention to that, but the optimization wasn't. Well, I guess it kind of, in theory, supports my concern of the maximum level of creativity you can or will have. Um, I haven't really noticed that, but once again I feel like there has to be limitations because you, you can't make a fucking an Optimus Prime, you know what I'm saying, like out of wood and rocks, and you know what I'm saying, like there's got to be limitations.
Well, yeah, there's going to be a limitation, but you can only you've whenever you see the presentation, there's only been a
Mm-hmm.
max of 2 moving components, and obviously we know that there's 8. Like I said, I don't know if it's gonna be this way, but
Yeah,
with presentation magic, they purposely know when things can lag, and
yeah.
I think that's why they show as minimalistic as they can because they're afraid that if they go too heavy, that you're gonna see the game start to lag and render really slowly.
Yeah, and that would be disappointment too, because I'm sure a lot of people like myself, can't wait to do those bigger and lavish and crazier creative things. So if that is something that, dare I say, I guess breaks the game, I mean that'll be received negatively too. But I could also see him come out. I was like, well, the game wasn't intended for you to do. Like, I mean, it's a silly and stupid rebuttal, but like, I don't know. I don't know. I hope not. I hope not. I'm still gonna stand my ground and think and hope that it's gonna be polished and it'll be figured out, and that won't be an issue.
Obviously,
But
I'll always be
but
on the hopeful
you have
side.
a yeah, no, but you have a valid point. It's a clear and good observation. But I'm still gonna say no. They got it right.
I'm hoping so too, man. Because if not, dude, this is gonna be a jittery mess.
Yeah.
Like I said, this is just
Which is
speculation. I'm also on the hopeful side because if it's good, that's only good for consumers. That's it.
yeah,
So
for
I'll
sure.
never hope for the worst, but if it does, Nintendo Switch 2.
And then you'll get the Tears of the Kingdom 4K HD 2D re-release or whatever you want to call it.
At this point, if they make a Switch 2, I don't even care if they do 4K. Just give me a standard 1080 60 FPS. I'm more worried about I shouldn't say worried. I'm more with frames at this point because for some reason, just because of the games I play, I like smoothness because Nintendo has the how do I say it, the option because most of the games are cartoonish. They don't need the high def graphics.
Mm-hmm.
They get lucky with having the cartoons. That's why 4K is not needed. But
Mm-hmm.
60 FPS plus that
Mm-hmm.
definitely would help it out more in my opinion.
Yep.
But that's just me being
No,
greedy.
no, it makes sense. You're not wrong. I mean, everything you said is right. They lean towards more on the more cartoony, cel shaded type of look, and yeah, frames would definitely help with that.
Yeah. So is there any more you want to add, or do you want to call it right here?
No, I think that's all I have on my plate. 2 weeks. Who knows if we talk about this again next week? Time will tell.
If there's
Might
any
get
more news, we'll talk about it.
it got to be pretty big news, I think, in order for us to bring it up. I think not that I could get over expended with talking Zelda, but I think we're kind of really at that point where might need that 1 week breather, and then, well, or I guess it would be 2 weeks because we'll
Because
have our hands on in 2 weeks.
I
But
honestly thought we were not going to talk about this again until it
yeah,
came
me
up.
either.
But because they actually released another like 20 plus minutes of footage
Yeah.
and
Mm-hmm.
showing even more than the direct did, I'm like, we got to talk about it. It's a pretty big announcement, but
Yeah.
I highly doubt that there's going to be another big reveal within this 2 week time period that's going to reveal that.
Yeah, I concur with that assessment because we had the final trailer ready. They made that known, and this really kind of is the last big thing. I mean, they let the reviewers get their hands on it. So, yeah, I think we'll wait till we get our hands on it and then give our
And remember,
review.
if you want to join us on our adventure when we play through Tears of the Kingdom, make sure you follow on both of our individual Twitch pages because I'm not sure if the real Shiesty will be streaming, but I know I will, and I'm still going through Breath of the Wild. Oh, he's not streaming it. Okay,
Yeah,
well, check out my side then because I'll be streaming all of it.
definitely watch Josh stream it all. But once again, would like to hear your comments and on everything Zelda related. And we forgot to mention Evo, or did we mention? I don't think we did.
All of it,
So yeah,
everything, whatever we
yep,
mentioned, talk about it.
everything. Even if it was from the podcast 5 weeks ago, and you just want to throw it on this one, so be it. Who cares?
Yeah.
And yeah, with that said, until next week, we bid thee all farewell and love y'all.
Peace.
Deuces.